Whoo! Are we having fun yet? I think we might be having some fun now. Well, it feels good to beat that team. It feels good to beat that team who I can sit here and front and be like, oh, they're back to being little brothers. I don't want to hear it. Nets have had our number. I know who they've had on their team. But I also remember last year when they didn't have anybody on their team and they came back and they whooped our ass. So I think it's fitting that tonight was I don't know if this is too much. I've gotten hyperbolic in the past. So stop me if this is another example of that. But tonight felt like the night that we are going to think back to if the next iteration of a great Knicks team actually comes to pass with this core, this roster, mostly this roster. And I say that because, well, for one, you saw it play out on the court tonight. And it is very, very clear that this team now, following this Josh Hart trade, embodies the spirit of New York basketball, embodies what every fan of the New York Knicks wants New York basketball to be about when they watch it. And I say that it's fitting that it would occur tonight because they beat the Nets. And 3.5 years ago, the Nets, the freaking Nets of Brooklyn, really Jersey, but Brooklyn, came in and did the thing that the Knicks really wanted to do. And we don't have to talk about whether or not the Knicks dodged the bullet by not signing Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. It's neither here nor there. The fact is they wanted to sign those guys, desperately wanted to sign those guys. Their jobs were on the line. And they ended up losing those jobs, or at least Steve Mills did, because he didn't sign those guys. And instead, because they needed to save face, they went and signed a bunch of players, and then they trotted out a bunch of those players, or all of those players, at opening the media day at the next year. I remember that media day. Not that I was there in person, but I remember seeing it because it was weird because like they had like the Knicks backdrop. But like all the video footage it was very clear that it was like a very small backdrop, so it looked kind of chintzy, which was very appropriate given how they went about that summer. Anyway, they trotted all these guys out there, and then they gave us this song about and dance about how they were dogs with a W, in case you were wondering. And we're gonna be dogs, we're gonna be this, that, the other thing, gonna bring the pride back to being Knicks fans and play like they did in the 90s and toughness and determination and yada, yada, yada. And it was all bullshit. Because you can say that you're going to be dogs all you want. You can walk into the locker room before the season starts and talk about how, hey, you guys better do it this year because otherwise, like, you're all on one-year contracts. You're not going to be back. Yeah, how did that work out? You could say it. It doesn't mean anything. Because unless you have the players, and we could talk, I could sit here and I could make this about Tibbs. I could make this about the ecosystem. I could make this. No. You got to have the fucking players. All right. And slowly but surely, and here's where I will make it about Leon Rose, intentionally or otherwise, they have started to bring in dogs with a W. And I think I got to say, Emmanuel Quickley, not the first draft pick of this regime, but he was drafted on the first night that this regime had the opportunity to draft players. That dude's a fucking dog. And there has been a Quickley hive, appropriately enough, that has been gaining steam since the day he first stepped foot on a court for the Knicks. And even he kind of stood out in that first We Here season. And that We Here season, like, yeah, there was definitely some dog in that team. And I think in retrospect, that was a lot of Tibbs. That was a lot of Tibbs. That was a lot of preparedness. That was a lot of like, hey, we're going to be better prepared. We're going to be more, well, we're going to execute better than everybody else. We're going to out-execute our talent. And they did. And Julius Randle played out of his mind. And yeah, that team had some dog in it for sure. But at the same time, there was a certain something lacking, and they got exposed in the playoffs. Fast forward to last year. We learned just how much of, I don't say paper tigers, but like just how much of a house of cards the previous year's team was. And then you get to this year. And this summer, this team went out and they used all of their familial connections to sign one Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson, who the Dallas Mavericks could have had in January. Forget the previous summer. In January for 4 years and $55 million. He went to them. Rick admits, Rick Brunson, he went back. He said, I know I said I wasn't going to negotiate in the season. Give you guys one more chance. And they said, nope, we're good. They apparently didn't see enough of this guy behind the scenes in 3.5 years to say, yeah, you know what? He's worth 4 years, $55 million. I mean, I am, goodness gracious. I would hate to be a Mavs fan tonight. And they have Luka Doncic on their team. And I would hate to be a Mavs fan tonight. I would hate to be a Mavs fan this season. Desperation move going on and get Kyrie Irving from this Nets team. Again, it all ties together. So they went out and got Jalen Brunson, who is the centerpiece. He's the straw that stirs the drink. He's their heart. He's their soul. He's also their best player. And with all due respect to Julius Randle is an all-star. He's a deserving all-star. He is a star in this league, or he's a version of a star in this league. He's an incredibly talented player. And I think I'm writing something today for the all-star break. I don't think he's done yet. I think he can make more all-star teams. Jalen Brunson is the heart and soul of the New York Knicks. So we saw him all season long, and we had the running bit, where would this team be without Jalen Brunson, for a while. And then they started to pull it together, and some other players started to come and fill their respective roles. And Grimes started playing well, and Mitch was playing well, and Randall obviously turned it up, and the whole thing. Even RJ had some moments. We'll talk about RJ. And then they go out and they trade for Josh Hart. And the moment, again, if we're sitting back years from now, reflecting on when the beginning of this era truly was, I'm going to think back to the moment when Josh Hart got an and one in the fourth quarter. And I believe the transcription was somewhere out there on Twitter. I'm not going to repeat it here. First of all, I don't have it handy. But it was, let's just say Josh Hart was excited after that and one and voiced his excitement to all of MSG. A place in a city and a crowd that he talked about the day he got here. Yes, we could laugh at Nets fans or the Nets. Not Nets fans. We love Nets fans. Nets fans are okay. All 87 of them, they're great. We could laugh at the Nets for a little bit. I'll bring Andrew on to do the actual laugh because you guys know I'm not good at fake laughing. But that moment when he just screamed his freaking head off after that and one in the fourth quarter, that to me is the moment I'm going to think back about if this keeps going the way it's going. Because with a guy like Hart now and Brunson and Quickly, and it's not a coincidence those three guys are on the floor to end this, or not to end the game, but like to end the relevant portion of this game, which you want to talk about a 180. The Knicks had a 28-point lead on a much less talented version of this same Nets team about a year ago, right before the All-Star break. It may have been actually exactly a year ago. I don't know if Andrew wants to check the date, but whatever. It was essentially about exactly a year ago. And they gave up that 28-point lead because that team had nothing of what this team does. And now, a year later, Close game throughout. Knicks some sloppiness, but we could get into why this was a close game. They played well. I mean, Knicks played well throughout the game, but Nets making a lot of shots. This team, to talk about a completely different DNA from that team last year, this was a close game at the beginning of the fourth quarter, and they just put their foot on the freaking Nets' throats. That is how you do it when you are a bunch of dogs. Real dogs. Not, I'm going to talk about being a dog. No. Real dogs. And that's what the Knicks did tonight. And Brunson, quickly, Hart, and again, Randall's an integral part of that. Because they need him. They need his talent, and as long as they could keep him focused and headed in the right direction, they will be fine. This team is not a contender yet. I'm not even going there. But again, I said it a couple days ago. What do I want from this team? I want this team to be, whether they get in as the 6th seed or they have to work their way through the play-in, which is something I'm still not ruling out. It's a tough league, and they have a tough schedule. I want them to be someone that whoever has to play them in the first round not thinks that they're going to lose the series, but just when they see the matchup, they're like, fuck. We got to deal with that team for however many games we have to deal with them. That's all I want. And tonight, really, more than any night in a long time, I felt like I watched a team that is going to make whoever they're playing, God willing they get in, make whoever they're playing look at them and be like, you know what? We have to take this team seriously. Which is all you could want. If you're a Knicks fan for this version of the Knicks, that may change. Probably will change. When it changes, we'll see. But lots to be happy about, lots to be excited about. This is a big win. Last thing I'll say is I said after the Utah game, I was like, I basically was like, if we don't win the last two, whatever, it's not a big deal. We're getting into the All-Star break over 500. Fine. And I was thinking about it today. I'm like, man, the Nets just imploded again after June 30th, 2019. Completely and totally, like, biggest flop in the history. I don't want to say biggest flop in the history of professional sports, but like in terms of what the expectations were and in terms of where the talent was and in terms of, by the way, what that talent was able to do together with them. They were actually out on the floor at one time for whatever it was, 16 games of it. The drop off from that to what they actually accomplished as a team, yeah, I think they're in the conversation for the biggest flops in professional sports history, depending on what your definition of flop is. For all those guys to be gone now, and for Ben Simmons, the one, like, what was supposed to be the remnant, from Harden going out and looking like, talk about a shell of himself. He's the 10th. I don't even, should he be in the Nets rotation? Whatever. We'll let them worry about that. They needed to win this game tonight. Fuck the fact that the Nets have all these good wings and like big winged teams are tough matchup for the Knicks. And Spencer Dinwiddie always gets up to play the Knicks. We know that, and he did tonight. Forget all that. They needed to win this game. This was a big game, and they should have won it, and they did win it. So credit to them for that. The vibes are good. Might say they're immaculate. Might say. Andrew Claudio, can I call you up here for assistance with moment of the game?
Sure. I'd love to help you talk about this victory over the Brooklyn Nets, in which they finally broke this streak of 9 straight losses to the Nets. They finally handed Nick Claxton his first loss against the Knicks. And they finally, the weirdest streak that existed against the Nets, they finally defeated Ben Simmons.
Well, that's not a Nets streak. That's a...
But this Ben Simmons streak, whatever. That the Knicks had never defeated Ben Simmons before tonight. And look, I still stand by what I said the other day, that I actually do like some of the pieces. That what I said to Mike yesterday, they're a team of 2 and 3 starters. If you follow
Great
baseball,
pop, by the way.
Thank you. They're not a team with a superstar. It's funny. Mensa said this on the playback tonight. You know what? When I watch this Brooklyn team, my thought is like, oh, they would do really good with a superstar. They have all the complementary pieces, like a Kevin Durant type.
but no, I was thinking about it today when I was listening to the pod, and you were having a conversation about like what's next and like what do we do, and I was thinking to myself, man, they have all these picks now. They could just flip all the picks that they got for the next superstar that becomes
Mhm.
available, plop them in with this group, they're going to be pretty good right away
Yep.
once again,
Yep.
you know?
But that's a concern for the future because
Yeah.
tonight, however long this post-game show goes, we're taking some time to laugh at the Brooklyn Nets.
Oh,
Man,
God.
that was great. All right, your moments of the game. What do you got? I only have 2. They won by a bunch. They haven't won by a bunch in a while.
I got some.
All right, what do you got?
So I don't have a time for it, but it was the Knicks when it was their 81st and 82nd points of the game. I just wrote Brunson filth when it was in semi-transition. He had Joe Harris guarding him on the arc, and he put a fake on Joe Harris that Joe Harris will not soon forget and may keep Joe Harris up tonight. And then, as if that wasn't enough, the beautiful, 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 I guess I'll call it a finger roll finish off the glass. So that's moment of the game number 1 for me. Moment of the game number 2 for me, the Josh Hart pick 6.
Yes.
That's what Fred termed it on Twitter, and I will co-sign Fred, where he stole the ball, took it all the way, and finished. And then, man, it feels. This is gonna be the problem with moment of the game from now on. We're gonna have like 2 or 3 or 4 moments from all of the Knicks, and then we're gonna have 8 moments from Josh Hart.
Yep.
Because that's how he plays, and that's just what it is, you know.
He's Roy
and
Kent.
I feel bad. What?
He's Roy Kent. He's here. He's there. He's every fucking where. Josh Hart. Josh Hart.
I feel bad only giving Brunson the one. I feel like Brunson's probably going to win it because he had the big game, and Brunson's going to be my player of the game, the 3-star player of the game in the newsletter tomorrow. So we'll give Hart the other player of the other play of the game, the and one that I referenced earlier.
So I've got a Hart drive and one to make it 106.94.
Yes,
I have the Brunson step back 3 for his 34th, 35th, and 36th point at the end of the third.
Had that too.
A 10-point lead going into the fourth quarter. So I think those 2 have to be on there because it was a little touch and go in that fourth quarter. And every single time that the Nets would cut it, the Josh Hart or whoever would do a thing. So I would go with those 2. And then there's the Brunson cooking Harris one. Just give him 2
we'll
moment
take the pick 6 off.
Yeah, take the pick 6 off. It was great, but fine. Like when I think Josh Hart, I think that and one. See, the funny part about that and one, MSG Networks in particular. So Hart gets the and one, makes the layup, and gets the foul, and he starts talking shit to the crowd, and it's awesome. The camera then cuts to Deuce McBride. Why? Why do you need to show Deuce? So why does he need to be on camera at that time? It's like if whoever loses the Oscar and you spend like an extended long shot on the losers of the Oscar as the person who won is getting their acceptance speech. It was just
and
like,
it's MSG's cameras too,
right? It's like MSG. What are you doing? Why does this need to be? Why does this need to be on Deuce right now? So those are, I think, the moments of the game candidates for tonight.
I love it.
Okay.
Next up, personal injury report, courtesy of Weiss and Rosenblum, our friends, the personal injury attorneys at the law offices of Weiss and Rosenblum. Don't forget, give them a call today at 212-366-6100. That is 212-366-6100. Or visit weissandrosenblum.com for more information. Don't call a rookie. Call a veteran like Josh Hart.
That's what the Knicks did.
That is what
apologies to Quentin Grimes and Deuce McBride. You're not technically rookies, but they went and called a veteran.
So I think this is going to be a celebratory. Man, now I'm getting greedy because I was about to say they survived the Mitch injury. We will get to the All-Star break. Although now, like, are we sure Mitch is going to be back after the break? Now it's like maybe he'll need an extra game, an extra little bit of time. We'll see. There is uncertainty in the air as to whether Mitch will be ready as soon as the All-Star break. So that is your personal injury report. But I was saying, yeah, what?
If we get December Mitch with this crew,
I'm
a little might get a little greedy myself and start looking at some conference finals prop bets.
Stop it.
I'm just saying.
Stop.
They look amazing. They look amazing. Be the change you want in the world. Come on.
1, stop it. Two, and now that Hartenstein has been activated, talk about a guy, not as, I don't think he had as good a game as he did against Utah, but he had a really good game. The alley-oop from Brunson was a thing of beauty in the fourth quarter. Big, nice, really nice game for Isaiah Hartenstein. Again, he's been playing out of his mind the last, it's really now the last 11 games, including tonight. He goes into the second unit. He stays in the second unit, and you're replacing Sims with Mitch, and you still get this Hartenstein. So now all of a sudden you get your, like, now you got some real depth. If we can get all of the players who are supposed to be the big time contributing players on the same page and contributing in a meaningful way, and I will leave it at that.
I agree on the sentiment and where you're going with that. I'm sure it'll come up throughout the post game. Who said player you're referring to is. I'm simply saying that one of my thoughts during the fourth quarter, when you saw honestly during the second quarter, when you saw the quickly Hartenstein, Brunson Randall lineup out there. I guess anytime we ever saw that, my big thought was like, imagine this closing lineup with Mitch. Like how effective they're gonna be, and that's why I'm like honestly curious what they do when they play the Celtics again or play the Sixers again. You know, with Josh Hart into the mix.
I'll save it for the super chats because I know it's going to come up.
They're saying that Claudio cursed it, that now they're going to lose in the play-in because I dared to mention the conference finals.
I mean, Hawks lost to the Hornets tonight.
Gave up 144 points to the Charlotte Hornets.
You want to talk about a not serious team? Give up 144 points to the Charlotte Hornets. So as of right now, this was important. Knicks got a 2.5 game cushion now on Atlanta, and they have a 4 game cushion on Washington. And you're like late enough in the season where like a 4 game cushion with 24 games to play. Did I do math correctly?
Yep, 24. Today was game 58.
Yeah, so 24 games to play. 4 game cushion is not nothing with 24 games to play. It's not everything, but it's not nothing. So, you know, look, at the very least, if you're the Knicks, you want to stay in that 7-8. You don't want to fall out of the 7-8. Ideally, if you have to be in the 7-8, you want to be in the 7. They're in a good spot to be in the 7. And you're half a game behind the Heat. And 2 games. 2 behind the Nets. Tonight, now, after this win, the way they did this, I will watch the Nets very closely.
The Nets have the 6th most difficult schedule remaining. The Miami Heat have the 7th most difficult schedule remaining. Now, the Knicks have the 10th, so it's not like they have an easy schedule left. But that margin might be enough. And then you add in the fact, and this shout out to XJ who pointed this out on the playback tonight. I just don't know how the Nets are scoring. Like the games that the last 2 games we've seen when they play above average teams, they're going to struggle to get to 100 points. And
Macau was bad tonight. They didn't have Seth Curry. It's a necessary dose of shooting for them. I think he'll help. Dinwiddie's not going to go off though all the time.
That's the thing. Their offense is ball movement and Dinwiddie, and Cam Thomas maybe catches fire.
So you think there's some not bottom out potential, but you think there's some fallout potential.
I do think against some better teams they're going to struggle to score. And I just said they have the 6th most difficult schedule. They're going to play a lot of the better teams.
And again, this is the wild thing. And look, we'll see how a team like Indiana approaches the post All-Star break. But there really aren't that many pivot teams, I'll call. And as of now, this is unfathomable that we're almost 60 games into the season and there are 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm not even going to count Orlando because they've been one of the better teams, or at least in the top half of the league, for more than a couple months now. There's 4 teams that are like not trying to lose games, but teams that are, you kind of look at on the schedule, like, okay, you know, and it's like, and even a team like Detroit. I was watching the fucking Detroit, the Pistons. I know I'm going off on a tangent. We have a lot of super chats. I was watching the Pistons and Raptors on Super Bowl Sunday. The Pistons were down by 12 with like 3 minutes to go. They came back and they almost won that game late. Like they're all of these crap. The Hornets won tonight. all of these crappy teams come and they play you hard. So, like, if you don't bring it and you don't have a plan to score and defend every night, you're going to have issues. And yeah, don't put it past anybody to slide down the standings if they aren't able to do both things.
Yep, Nets are now under 10 games, or below 10 games over 500. They're now 9 games over 500 for the first time in months, basically, since that winning streak happened. So, look, I do think they're a playing team. I still like the pieces there. When we discussed this on on Patreon, that I actually do see like a path, a very clear path for the Nets to get to the 7 seed. It's this, that the Knicks and Heat play above their level over the next 2 months. You know,
I'm not counting any chickens.
Neither am I. The Knicks have to go out and win these games too. It's literally just the margins between these 3 teams are going to get very close, but very soon.
Yeah, I have some other, look. Knicks are an imperfect team. We saw them be a very imperfect team for most of 3 quarters tonight. I'll save my thoughts when it comes up in the super chats, because I'm sure it'll come up, because this team still has issues. They are not a great team. They are a good team, I think. And that's all I'll say about that for now.
Elite second unit, though. I'm loving this second unit lineup,
dude.
Yeah.
And and bad job by me. We talked about Brunson, obviously. We talked about Hart. We talked about Hardenstein a little bit. Emmanuel quickly gave this team some immensely important minutes at the beginning of the 4th quarter of this game, making shots, making passes, directing the offense. I am very happy to see that his role seems like it is going to continue to be a vital one, even with Hart on this team. Not that Hart's presence should have affected Emmanuel Quickley's role, but to look up and see Emmanuel Quickley play 28 minutes tonight, score 14 points on 8 shots, get a chance to dish 5 assists, like, it's what you want. So, all right. Shall we do it?
Let's do it.
I'm happy. I'm a happy man tonight. Larry Brown starts us off. I wonder if it is the same Larry Brown who guided the Knicks to one of their less glorious seasons in franchise history. We'll see. The Suns may get a one-legged KD, and the Mavs landed head case Kyrie, but the Knicks won the trade deadline with the Hart trade. Hashtag the best New York Knick coach. Oh, okay. Well, Tibbs love to start the broadcast. I'm fine with that. I mean, hey, listen, if that's what you think, I'm not going to argue with you. The Tibbs coached a pretty good game tonight. What do you say? 124-106? Yeah. Dominic Manzi, does Josh Hart qualify for the Supermax? So he's going to take this into free agency. The biggest, I like have not 1% worry, 0% worry. Josh Hart is going to be a Knick moving forward. They're going to re-sign him. The only question is there a world where he agrees to an extension off of his current contract? And I think the way that he does that, and the reason he does that, is if the Knicks offer him a lot of years. And the years would be, if they could offer him up to a 4-year extension off of next year's player option, which he would opt into. And then with 8% raises, he could extend for 4 years. And I did the math the other day, north of $60 million. I don't think he's going to do that, because I think Josh Hart knows in this NBA economy, he's more like a $16, $17 million a year player with raises. I think he could, but whatever. He'll be here for a while. Josh Hart ain't going nowhere. Thanks, Dominic. Sam Garcia, what's going on? I'd love to get the Garcia clan in here early. RJ is going to be playing for the, Guangdong Tigers real soon. One, I hope I pronounced that correctly. 2, okay, I'll get it out of the way now. Andrew Claudio, listening behind the scenes, was with me for a very memorable podcast that we did together several days or 2 days maybe, or was it the day before or the day after? I forget. Whatever. It was a few days after I wrote a 2-part newsletter in which I was like in the middle of the Donovan Mitchell shit, when I was like, "Hey, maybe it's not so crazy if the Knicks like talked about RJ Barrett in the Donovan Mitchell talks." And that newsletter was met with some consternation by Knicks Nation. Did not intend to do that. And then we talked about it on the pod, and I kind of explained myself. And sure enough, around that time, and the reason I wrote the newsletter is because I had caught wind of something. It came out that they had indeed discussed RJ. And then everything happened the way it happened. It would be very easy for me to sit up here and be like, I told you so. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that because to me, all that's happened is RJ is like kind of being. I'm going to let me add the addendum to what I'm about to say because people are going to be like, what the hell are you talking about? He's kind of been the player that he's always been. Now here's the part that I'm going to add on that's going to make that sentence make sense. RJ has always been inconsistent from the day he stepped foot into the league. He's always been inconsistent. He's always gone through periods of inefficiency. And there have been big ups and very low downs. The difference between this season and past years is the focus now on the downs, on the spotlight on the downs. People are much less forgiving. And I think part of that is because of the whole Mitchell trade talks. I think part of that is because he's now signed to a $100 million extension. I think a big part of that is because Jalen Brunson is now here and is playing out of his mind, to say nothing of Emmanuel Quickly coming into his own. And now you add Josh Hart coming into his own and be like, oh, wait a minute, this Josh Hart guy. So he attacks the rim relentlessly, that's RJ's big skill, right? Okay. But he also does all this other shit too. He just gets in every crevice of the fucking game. He's in the fucking floorboards, making life hell for the opposing team on both ends. That's the do everything wing who also drives like crazy. Not in the way RJ does, but anyway. And so there's a lot of like, I think now recalibration of RJ is like, well, wait a minute. This isn't the guy that we thought we were going to. Well, and I'm kind of in the position of like, no, okay, has it been a great year? No, it hasn't been a great year. Is it particularly ugly right now? Yeah, it's kind of ugly right now. Stay patient. Stay patient. This is still a 22-year-old player. This is still a 22-year-old player with flaws in his game, that because of those flaws in his game, when it is going bad, it looks very, very, very bad. Whatever's going on defensively, we know is not permanent because we have seen this player defend at a very high level not that long ago. So I don't know if it needs to be some weight loss that needs to happen in the summer. I'm not going to sit here and pretend to know why RJ is defending the way he has. But like, if you give me the defensive version of him that we have seen in the pros, we don't have to go back. This isn't a Karl-Anthony Towns thing where it's like, oh, this guy was a really good defender in high school and he defended pretty well at Kentucky. And like all of a sudden, no, this guy defended well in the pros at this level not long ago. You get that sorted out, and he's all in his head right now. I'm convinced of that. And he sorts all that stuff, and he just gets to be the player that we saw even a glimpse of tonight in the beginning of the third quarter when he had some important baskets and was like, okay, he just needs to get himself sorted out. And we've seen him get himself sorted out in the past. He will get himself sorted out again. Now, whether he's getting himself sorted out on this team or a different team next year is a different story. And that is going to be largely dependent on what happens in the NBA marketplace this summer and who becomes available and what those players are going to be, who needs to go out for those players to come in. And I'm not going to sit here and try to predict that. But let's just, again, this is coming from me, the guy who has every excuse to be like, ha, I told you so. Let's ease up on the RJ hate. Have a little patience. 22 years old. And he's done really special things at this level before. So, well, patience. It's a virtue, as my dad always used to tell me. DJ MKC. Thank you, Mark Cuban, for letting Brunson go. What a wonderfully idiotic decision. Yes, it is. Not the first in Mavs history either, or the second, or the third, or the 10th. P.S. Can we just sign all the Villanova guys? I was thinking about that today. Again, shout out to Andrew for the wonderful pregame pod. That was a great conversation. If you missed it, it's still just as relevant today. Listen to it tomorrow. Listen to it the next day. McCall having turned down three or four first round picks for McCall in trade after they got him. He's really good. I'm not sure I would have turned down all those picks. Because this is a guy who, again, given the current NBA economics, maybe they change the CBA. We'll see. But it's going to be really tough to extend this guy because he's not going to extend off his current contract given the current CBA rules because you can only extend on 20%. Same reason the Knicks probably aren't, Josh Hart's going to opt out. Excellent player. But I think I'm more comfortable calling him the ideal role player. I have a much more easier time seeing him as maybe turning into the best role player in the NBA than I do as something more than he is right now. I love Mikal Bridges, though. He's awesome. Didn't have a good game tonight, though. And credit to the Knicks for that, by the way. Dan Hidalgo, I know I'm getting ahead of myself, but it's what I do. In the event the Knicks get the 5 seed, oh my God, what are we doing here? Andrew Claudio got to you. Do you believe we have a puncher's chance versus the Cavs? Sure. Yeah, sure. I think they have a puncher's chance versus the Cavs. I will give them a puncher's chance versus the Cavs. I would not give them a puncher's chance against the Celtics, Bucks, Sixers. The only reason because it's Philly and weird shit happens in Philly, and again, I think Embiid might be my MVP pick, but they just have a weird habit of imploding at bad times, and James Harden is James Harden. I would give them the smallest of chances against Philly, but I would give them a real puncher's chance against the Cavs. For sure. They're good. Hamdy M. RJ is just not in a good place right now. I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. There we go. I wonder where he's at mentally and emotionally right now. And that's the thing for me. It's yes, I understand there are some very real skill deficits with this player. And he has never put together a full and complete package to be an effective, ball dominant option at this level. And I say that purposefully because when he was balling out over the last 3.5 months of last season and a 30 usage rate and averaging 24 plus points a game and the whole thing, there were still very real holes in his game that were I was like, okay, this is great. We got to clean up this other stuff. And it was the efficiency and it was I needed more playmaking. A 30 usage rate with 3.5 assists a game is not enough. It's just not. But there was a lot of other stuff there, and we saw signs of other things too. We've seen the efficiency in pockets elsewhere, and we've seen the passing in pockets elsewhere. The point is, he's done all the things for the most part. He's done all the things, hasn't put it together. Let's not sell him down the river right now because I completely agree with you. Mentally and emotionally, I don't think he's in a good place right now, and again, the question is going to be a matter of timing. Does he have enough time for it to happen here? The Knicks may not have a choice because, again, I don't want to go down this road, but if he keeps going down this road the way he's playing, might not be that easy to trade him this summer. Now, I don't think that's going to happen. I think he's going to rebound. I think say what you want about RJ. I think he's mentally strong and tough. I think he's going to be all right. Thanks, Andy. Haitian Ferg. RJ, better watch out. Hard ain't playing. Where Brooklyn at? Notorious B.I.G. voice. Statement game. Go beat Atlanta and get right after the break. Let's go Knicks. This is what I was fumbling my words at the intro and I couldn't get it out. But now I'm greedy. Now I want to beat Atlanta. Now I want to go into the freaking break on a 3-game win streak. And I want to be the team that people are talking about going into the break and be like, hey, the Knicks, maybe not fucking around. As far as Notorious B.I.G., people should put it in their chat. What's your favorite B.I.G. song? Mine is Warning, which is an odd one. If you haven't heard Warning, just go listen to Warning and play it all the way through until the very end. Even when the music stops, there's a bit at the end that is required listening for Warning. Corey McConkey. The JB, IQ, Hart, Randall, iHeart lineups chemistry is the best all year. Hart's immediate impact reminds me of a better version of the Kmart signing in 2013. Yeah, different players, but I can see where you're going with that. That's an interesting one. Yeah, he's a guy that like is a really perfectly complementary player if you have the right top pieces, I think. You know, but at the same time, like we saw him tonight, and somebody said this in the KFS Substack chat that like his help now propping up second units is going to be big because those second units, for better or worse, have struggled all year. And him being able to be in there, be another ball mover, be a finisher, be a guy who could attack closeouts in a real meaningful way, get out in transition, another defensive presence on those second units. What I'm fascinated about in terms of how he is deployed is so up until they acquired him, Brunson would so he ostensibly took McBride's place in the rotation, right? Okay. Brunson would come in and replace McBride in the second unit. And now tonight, when Brunson came back in, Brunson didn't replace McBride in the second unit. Brunson replaced RJ in the second unit. And RJ played 24 minutes tonight. Am I right on that? RJ played 24 minutes tonight. Now, granted, he might have gotten in the game at the end of the game if it had been serious enough to do so. Played 14 minutes in the first half, but still 14 minutes for RJ in the first half, on track for 28 minutes. You know, and Grimes also, though. Grimes got a minute's haircut, too. He played 22 minutes. And Hart was 28, along with Quickly. The minutes distribution from these players are going to bear watching all year for the rest of the year. Thanks, Corey. Frank Miranda. Mac, what's up? It's your boy Frank from Patreon. Can we get Andrew to put up a countdown for how long before RJ is removed from the starting lineup? It's not going to happen, Frank. This dude really put up a Dunkin' Donuts stat line in the first half. Oh, no. Hashtag bench RJ. Frank, you are just, you're not, I can't say you're not a nice person. You're a very nice person. You're one of the nicest people I've ever met. But you're not being nice right now, Frank. Come on, man. They're not going to bench RJ. They're not going to bench RJ. They would not do that to him. Look, you could, again, we saw it tonight. Hart played 28 minutes. Quickly played 28 minutes. Barrett played 24 minutes. This team needs RJ Barrett to play a significant number of minutes. Like, they just need him to play a significant number of minutes, and they're going to keep giving him a chance to play significant minutes and be better in those minutes because they don't have a choice. Like, this team has real goals this year, and we're sitting here talking about giving a, puncher's chance against Cleveland. Again, they're not going to have a puncher's chance against Cleveland if RJ Barrett doesn't come to play and play pretty good basketball. So they're going to give him enough rope to potentially hang themselves with. That being said, you could start RJ Barrett, and if he's having a sort of game like he came out and he had tonight, you could still play him not a lot of minutes. Like, that's why you don't need to bench a guy. Like Tom Thibodeau's been doing this since he started becoming a head coach in this league. starting guys and then giving quick hooks and like seeing starters that play like 15, 16, 17 minutes a game. It's where the whole Keith Bogans thing came from. He was Keith Bogans' coach. It's a running joke. So and we saw with Peyton after Rose got here too. He did it 2 years ago. I'm not saying it's going to get to that extreme, but we know he could do it. Thanks, Frank. Appreciate your generosity as always. Hamdy M with another one. Finally beat the stupid Nets. Like how Randall stayed within himself tonight. I love some of IQ's moves tonight. Thank you, Nova, for Brun and Hart. Yes, great comment. So Julius Randle tonight, 18 points, 10 rebounds, cold from deep, 1 of 6 from deep, which is why his final stat line was 7 of 17. Only 1 turnover. Randall did not have a great game. Defensively, I thought he had then he wasn't the only one. There were a lot of Knicks. Good defenders. Everybody. Literally every Knick player was getting beat off the dribble, which is probably the biggest sin of the first 3 quarters, is nobody could stay in front of their man. And it resulted in a lot of fouls. The Knicks were in the freaking penalty midway through the second quarter. It was the biggest down spot in this game was their inability to stay in front of the Nets drivers. And Randall was one of those. So that wasn't great. Started off 3 for 3, finished the game 4 of 14. Not the best offensive night for him. But to your point, I do think he did a pretty good job staying within himself. And part of staying within yourself, if you're Julius Randle, is knowing that, like, okay, it's not my night. I'm going to defer a little bit more tonight. Or at the very least, I'm going to look for every opportunity to pass the ball. And Randle threw some not good passes tonight. Julius Randle threw some outstanding passes tonight, not all of which resulted in baskets. So I know he only had 4 assists, easily could have had a couple more, but we've said that a lot with him. So hat tip to Julius Randle for that reason. Thank you, Hamdy. Appreciate that. As I am checking out the Nets-Wolves final 25-second with the Wolves trying desperately to hang on in this freaking game. How I would love the Mavs to lose this. Maxwell Efros, shout out to Schwinn for putting me on to KFS. Schwim. I don't know if you mean Schwinn. It says Schwim. Brunson is an all-star. I love Josh Hart. Yeah, thanks. I'm glad you're here. Thank you for coming and joining us. Thank you for the generous contribution. Brunson being an all-star. Come on, Jalen. You're about to get, or you're a year and a half away, I should say, from getting paid a $200+ million deal. I'm talking about Jaylen Brown. You have a lot of money. Go have the best vacation of your life on a private island. Buy the private island. Go have a vacation on it. Let your face heal. Your team, the Celtics, need you. Again, let your face heal. Give the league a chance to name a replacement for you in the All-Star game. Now, part of me feels bad saying that because I'm sure Jalen Brunson wouldn't mind chilling on an island for the next week, but whatever. Dan Hidalgo, what percentage of this from Hart can we expect moving forward? Well, here's what you can't expect. You can't expect him to, because what was he, 2 of 3 from deep last game? He was 4 of 6 tonight. So Josh Hart, spoiler alert, is not a 66% three-point shooter. That said, he's a better three-point shooter than he shot in Portland this year. That's for damn sure. Like, Josh Hart's a 34, 35% guy. And again, I cited this statistic a couple times already, and I'll cite it again. Josh Hart, from the corners in his career before this season, has been 41% from the corners. I know his shot is funky. It's an understatement. But he could get it down from the corners, and he's just not going to get it down like this. Everything else you've seen from Hart, like, that's all legit. That's all legit. I will say this. I think he is a player that probably the more your team is winning, the more you're going to feel him. And that's also a chicken or the egg thing because I do think how he makes his presence felt leads to winning. But like Josh Hart last year was like on a shitty Portland team to end the year, and like he put up a bunch of points, but like I don't know, did you feel Josh? I didn't watch enough Portland games at the end of last year to really say this, but like I don't know if you felt Josh Hart in quite the same way. I think if like that's why I wanted to start off the post game like I did. If this really is the beginning of the next iteration of really, really good New York Knicks basketball, I think Josh Hart's gonna be a guy that we're talking about for a long, long time as an integral part of what they do. Thank you, Dan. Roger Fortune. What's going on, Raj? There's a lot of dialogue to unpack with this win, ranging from the All-Stars to All-Star snubs to maybe injecting a little more heart into the starting lineup. Most importantly, the streak is over. I agree there's a lot to talk about. Thank you, Roger, for the generous contribution. And thank you, Minnesota, for not blowing this game. Mavs lose. 2 losses in a row. Sucks to be you guys. Anyway. Yeah, I look, again, I think I'll be curious if the Knicks beat makes the starting lineup thing a story. My gut feeling is that they will not. Not yet. And if they don't, I don't think it becomes a story, even if it may become a topic. Just want to throw that out there. As far as the All-Star snub, again, like when they named the replacements, I said it at the time. Like, I thought they could have named Brunson. I did not feel that naming Anthony Edwards or Pascal Siakam, or De'Aaron Fox. I had a brain fart there for a second. I didn't feel like any of those were egregious. Would I have picked Brunson over of those three? I probably would have picked him over Siakam or Edwards. I thought De'Aaron Fox deserved to be an all-star all the way through. So, but like now, after like we have more evidence. With every additional bit of evidence, it's like it all counts. And like with the how do you have an all-star game without this freaking guy? I don't know. But yeah, the streak is over. Cheers to that. Salute. Matt Smith. What a fun game. So glad we finally beat those losers. Oh my God. 2, I would die for Josh Hart. Me too. He has my heart. That's for sure. As we're an hour away from Valentine's Day. 3, do you think the front office would consider an RJ shutdown? My Lord, what are we talking about? An RJ shutdown. We absolutely cannot afford his value to plummet. Shut him down what? For what? What are you going to put on the injury report? Out dash stinks? Come on, no. They're going to let him work through his issues. This from Steph Bondi. Jalen Brunson said he'd accept an invitation to be an all-stars and injury replacement if Jaylen Brown is unavailable. That's not an honor I could pass up, Brunson said. Added that he's hoping for Brown's health first. What a fucking classy guy. Stay classy, Jalen Brunson. Sorry about your Eagles.
No, we're not sorry about his Eagles. We're happy.
I'm sorry about his Eagles.
No, I hope it motivated him to play the way he did tonight. Okay. Meanwhile, we could laugh at the city of Philadelphia while we're at it. Okay. Back to back run. Why not? Why not? It's because you only watch basketball and your team has never had a real rivalry.
No, because I was. Well, actually, I was about to say because I was a Steelers fan when I watched football, which I don't anymore. Same state, but like that wasn't a real rivalry,
right? Because it's basically New York Buffalo. Like they're on the opposite sides of their state.
I think it's a for diehard Steelers fans. If there's any watching, feel free to chime in the chat. I think that's a rivalry for a lot of Steelers fans. It wasn't really for me.
Jets Giants is barely a rivalry. They play each other every 4 years.
All right. Anyway, The Phillies, when I was like, supporting my wife and her Mets fandom, kind of stunk.
Yes, and then
And
we're
then
laughing at
what
them.
sport? And what sport am I forgetting? Oh, I'm not a hockey fan, so I don't really care about the Flyers.
Okay, so I'm laughing at the Phillies, who just lost the World Series. I'm laughing at the Union, apparently a soccer team that lost their championship thing because I was
I'm sorry.
corrected.
Hold on. Wait. The Union?
Yes, the Philadelphia Union are apparently a football club that also lost in the runner-up fashion. When I threw out my "you can't spell Philly without back-to-back L's" tweet last night, I kept getting in my mentions, other than my first ever death threat on Twitter. Yes, shout out Philly for letting their emotions out. I got a ton of, actually it's 3 because soccer, and I just was like, you know what, I'll take your word for it. Fine, whatever additional reasons I get to laugh at Philly.
That's great.
Yes,
There's a major sports team called the Union.
yeah, John, there was a major sports team called the football team last year.
That I know. I'm out of the loop. I'm not that out of the loop.
I'll give you an advanced stats update, by the way.
Yay! Giddy up.
So, by the way, out stinks is my favorite joke you may have ever told.
What?
When you were like, what do you put on the injury report with RJ being shut down? Out stinks. You know, it was, I forget who put the fake injury report for LeBron, where it was maybe it's me. Out, maybe it's me with tonight's game because of the tweet that he said the other day. Okay, the New York Knicks through, by the way, 59 games. This was game 59. My apologies for getting that wrong. But the Knicks are now.
No, you weren't. After the All-Star, or going into the All-Star break, they'll have 22 left, right?
Yeah, 22 left. Yeah. I had said this was game 58 because I wasn't able to get someone from Utah. So on my files, I put game 58, but I missed the next game. Anyway, this is game 59. The Knicks are 32-27. As John mentioned, a half game back behind the Miami Heat and very close to the Brooklyn Nets for the 5 and 6 seeds. They are 6th in offensive rating now, according to NBAstats.com or NBA.com/stats. 115.6 points per 100 possessions, which is a smidge better than the Philadelphia 76ers. On
That's
defense.
Insane. Hold on. Hold on. Wait.
Oh, go ahead.
Time out. We're 59 games into the season.
Mm-hmm.
And the New York Knicks have a better offensive rating than the team with Joel Embiid and James Harden.
Yep. Sam on cleaning the glass, too. In fact, they're better than Dallas and Cleveland. And
Tyrese
Philadelphia.
And Tyrese Maxey and Tobias Harris and some pretty good shooters in the whole. Okay.
Yep.
Imagine what they'd be if they had a good coach.
They got some great players playing really well, too, John. Shout out Jalen Brunson for a lot of this. Yes. On defense, they are down to 19, Tom Thibodeau's specialty. So if they had a good defensive coach, maybe they'd have a better defense, too.
There you go.
And then in net rating, they are top 10. So they're number 10 specifically at 1.7. And if you go to cleaning the glass, which eliminates tonight's garbage time, the Knicks are 9th. So they're at 1.9, which is right behind Brooklyn, who is at 2 in their net rating. So
you missed the most important advanced stat.
What?
Cam Reddish had a rebound in the first half tonight.
You're feeling froggy right now. Okay. How meaningful was that rebound?
Of all it was the most meaningful rebound in the history of rebounds.
Hold on. I guess we're doing this now. Hold on.
We're not. Move on to the.
You brought it up. You brought it up. Oh, he didn't start. Oh, he did start. Ooh, okay. I don't want to pile on. 0-5 and 0-3 from 3 for Cam Reddish in 9 minutes.
Why you gotta always harp on the negative, Andrew?
You're right. He's only a -6. Plenty of time to turn that around. My bad. It's my fault. Penalty.
Why do I always have to be the positive one on this podcast?
Yeah, you're right. By the way, when you said warning for Biggie, your favorite Biggie song in the last 3 minutes, with what's happened in Memphis with the whole thing with Ja, you basically isn't the last 2 minutes that skit what happened with the Pacers bus?
Well,
hold up, I hear somebody coming, and then you get the.
It's not a 2 minutes. It's like 15 seconds at the end of the song, or 20 seconds at the end of the song.
Mine is a tie between Notorious Thugs and Party and Bullshit, by the way.
Oh, Notorious Thugs. I was such. You want to talk about Bone Thugs and Harmony? I was.
Same.
Yeah.
I also, this is not gonna matter to you at all, but Notorious Thugs, that Biggie verse shows up in the Fast 10 trailer, and it spoke to my heart. So Fast and Furious 10s. You suddenly you hear throughout the second half of that 4-minute trailer, Biggie going, "Armed and dangerous, can't too many can bang with us."
I'll take note.
Label us Notorious.
Yes, we've really developed.
He's a mechanic, and he's going backwards out of a plane onto a highway. I hope they make 10 more on accident, John. I don't get. See, this really is the difference between you and me, and not to harp on you hating fun.
I was about to say they should do halftime entertainment in the middle of Fast 10.
No, they should make Fast 10 the halftime entertainment. That kind of entertainment in between timeouts. We figured it out on the on the playback tonight. You literally want timeouts to be a timeout. Like, go stand in the corner. We're in timeout during the no basketball. You literally want to give the fans a timeout anytime they take a timeout.
Study time. How can you use this time productively?
Yeah, like entertain yourselves.
All right, let's keep it going. This was good. That was a fun little diatribe. Keith, what's going on, Keith? How you doing? I was hyped for Hart, but this is even better than I could have imagined. Brunson is an all-star. I don't give a fuck what the NBA says. I'd comment on RJ, but that's too depressing, so let's end on a happy note. Shouts to you, Macri, and let's go New York Knicks. Thank you really very much, Keith. I appreciate that. Brunson, like, you know what would be funny is if he doesn't make the All-Star team, and this keeps going. Not 40 points a night keeps going, but, like, you know, he's been averaging whatever it is, 30 points a game for, I think, over a month now. Andrew, if you want to double check, like, how long it's been that his average is over 30 points. Like, how insane is it to imagine that he averages, I don't know, 27 a game for the rest of the year? 27, 28. I mean, the dude's hitting, like, now the threes are just falling, which is the weakest part of his game coming into this year, and he's just completely turned it around. Shout out again, Benji Ridholtz, for spotlighting this before the year and staying on it throughout the year as a necessary component to Brunson's game. Does he like get into all NBA consideration after, like, having not made the All-Star team? How wild would that be? And again, I'm not putting anything off the table at this point with this player and what he's able to do. Thanks, Keith. Rob DeLusma. What's going on, Rob? What's up, JM and our man Andrew? Pretty sure it's been said, but can you remember the last time a new player won over New York as fast as Josh Hart? Won over New York as fast as Josh Hart. In this way, in this specific way. So somebody, and I bad job by me, I should have brought it up the other night. A couple people today on Twitter reminded me that when J.R. Smith came here, didn't take long for fans to really like J.R. Smith. That said, I don't think we got the full J.R. until the 12-13 season. I think the 11-12 season was more of an appetizer, and that was also the Linsanity season, which is the first name that came to my mind when you were like, the last time a new player won over New York as fast as Josh Hart. I mean, but again, Linsanity was like a literal, like a fairy tale. They made a documentary about it 10 years after the fact. That's how important it was. So I think that's an unfair standard. As far as, like, normal players, how fast they won over New York, man, unfortunately, I don't remember when, like, Mace first got here, or for that matter, like Oakley, Starks, or any of those guys. Like, I remember when Camby first got here. I remember when Sprewell first got here. I remember when Houston first got here. Like, it took those guys time, especially Camby and Sprewell, because they didn't find success right away. And then after that, you have to go to like Like T-Mac, a few people reminded me Tracy McGrady had a really nice first game here, but that team stunk. And it went downhill from there. GMAC is reminding me in the chat, wasn't there a Kenyon Martin moment? I don't know if it was this. I remember when Kenyon Martin came here, and that was important. I don't know if it was like this. Maybe I'm thinking no, I was thinking about Novak. People love Novak almost from like right from the get-go. I'm trying to think if maybe it was someone on that 12-13 team because they got off to that start. They got off to whatever it was. Was it 6-0 or 8-0, whatever, one of those two. So maybe someone on that team, but that was also like it was Melo's team. So Melo was the one really doing the damage. Like, was there someone on that? You want to say like Jason Kidd? No. It's been a really long time. It's been a really long time, and it's just the way he plays. You know, to everybody who is my age, roughly, or older, maybe a little bit younger, and remembers the 90s. I mean, this is like, you know, this fucking guy should come with a warning label about, you know, if you're I said this to our the Substack chat, warning label that if your erection lasts longer than 4 hours, go to the hospital. I mean, Josh Hart is like serious. It's porn. It's porn for Knicks fans watching this guy. Barry Craver, what's going on, Barry? Before people call for Tibbs to be fired and replaced with Jay Wright, did Leon give Tibbs a vote of confidence by trading for Hart, a Tibbs kind of guy? To me, everything about this trade deadline screamed that they're going to give Tibbs. How do I put this? They're going to give Tibbs a chance to, like, they're going to, if he's going to go out, he's going to go out on his terms, and they're going to give him as Bill Parcells once said, they're going to give him the ingredients he wants to cook with. Now, the caveat with that is Josh Hart, best friend, obviously, or very good friend of Jalen Brunson, and his CAA. So it's not, and he's also just like, frankly, a guy that could play for any coach. Any coach is going to love Josh Hart. It's not like, yes, he's a Tibbs guy because Tibbs really loves what these sorts of players do, but any coach would love this guy. So, like, it's not like they traded for a guy that if they decide to move on from Tibbs this summer, like Josh Hart's all of a sudden going to go to waste. Like, that's not a thing. So, like, yes, it's a vote of confidence in Tibbs, but like, it's also maybe not. Like, if they were really like, if Tibbs was really calling the shots, Obi wouldn't be here right now. I'm not reporting. That is my opinion. That is my opinion that I have not heard from anywhere else. That is my opinion. That is just what I think. Please don't make that.
Let me get this right. Obi would not be here.
Whatever.
Per at JC Macri NBA.
Make sure everybody make sure you just tag me.
According to your sources, exactly.
Yes, all the sources. Every sources confirm.
Can confirm is how I'll start this. Can confirm. Obi would not. Okay. Full quote.
Oh God. Anik Ahmed, what's going on, Anik? I'm sad for RJ. Everyone wants him gone now. A lot of people do. Listen, he's not playing well right now. He's not playing well right now, but at the same time, I want to pull up his stats. Maybe Andrew could filibuster for me for a second. It seems like he's like really, 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 really deep in the weeds, but the reality is that I don't think it's as bad as maybe we're some are making it out to be. I'll just say that.
So you filibuster. I went and found Jalen Brunson's stats over the last 11 games.
No, I'm talking about RJ.
Right, but you had asked me earlier to look up how long he's been out.
Oh yeah, sure, go for it. Yeah.
So you look up RJ. Jalen Brunson over his last 11 games, 29 points per game, 10 made field goals a game. That's another thing. He's like, the volume is there. On 19 shots, it's 53.6%. On 5 threes a game, it's 47.5%. 5%. 80% from the line. He's a positive on off. Just overall, he's been outstanding for the last 11 games.
And that's how many points a game is he averaging over the last
29.3. Yeah.
All right. So RJ, since his finger injury, which, by the way, leading up to the finger injury, let's remember the dude was balling out before the finger injury. Since the finger injury, 36 minutes a game, 44% from the field, little under 34% from three. So those numbers are not great. He's getting to the line 5 times a game, a little bit more than 5 times a game, 5.3. Shooting free throws, 71.8%. 5 rebounds, 2.5 assists, but he's also made some nice passes, haven't resulted in field goals. We could recognize that. And 20.8 points per game. I get you could look at the efficiency and be like 21 points a game over those 16 games means nothing. It doesn't mean nothing. Like 21 points a game is still 21 points a game. It could be ugly. It could be his shooting can be detrimental at times, but like let's take a deep breath. That's all.
Well said. I am curious how the next couple of weeks go. If the team's able to keep winning, I like the second unit the way it is. Like they can stretch leads now, which can be, kind of fun.
Sorry, I said something. I don't know what the hell I was referencing. Probably the RJ thing or something around the RJ thing after the last game, and I'll just double down on it again. This is where you show your culture as an organization. Are you going to be like this organization has been for most of the last 20 years and act like a group of high schoolers with like, oh, this guy's the popular one now. Let's go hang out with him, and the old news, fuck that guy. Let's all talk behind their back. And no, multiple someones. How about everybody? Every important power player in the organization needs to take the time to go over to RJ Barrett and like call him or visit him or whatever over the course of the All-Star break, put an arm around him and be like, listen, we get it. There's been a lot of shit. No one's blaming you. We still believe in you. Like, yes, the NBA is a business. This thing almost happened this last summer. Nobody could predict the future. You're a Knick right now, and we're happy. Like something. I can't do this, but like you get like someone needs to do that.
I think this is why Derrick Rose and Evan Fournier are still here. There are some veterans on this team that aren't playing that are meant to be in charge of this.
How about the front office, the coaching staff, front office?
Yeah,
like, those people.
But you can admit there's a difference in like there's players that are also part of that. That it means more when it's like, hey, I've been through this. Now I'm sure there's going to be someone on the coaching staff that could stay. Like I've also been through this, but when they're literally in the trenches with you in the same uniform, that's part of it too. But you're right. The way they navigate this, as some minutes are going to start to not disappear, but be cut a little bit, it'll show like this is better for the team. Like you will be part of more important games than you would have been if we do this instead. And we'll see how that tests out over the next couple of weeks.
Yes. And it's important because right now, if I didn't know any better, I would say that RJ Barrett is playing like a guy who knows that the people that used to have his back no longer have his back.
Can I be honest? Yes, sure. His offense was awful tonight, and there's some possessions in that first half that were mind blowing. There's like multiple stretches in that second half with the second unit that I was like, okay, I'm noticing RJ getting in front of his man, like helping, like well on the defensive end. I didn't think he was as bad at least in the second half as everybody was saying. He just, he played 24 minutes. He is now no longer going to be leaned on as much as he used to be. At least I don't think.
Yes, there is still an inconsistency on the defensive end that is with the down is down.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking of a play where I think it was an out of timeout play, or was it certainly after a stoppage, but like Cam Johnson came around. I don't know if it was a one screen or it was a double screen, but like RJ got taken completely out of the play.
Mm-hmm.
Completely taken out of the play.
We said he literally got knocked out of the play. Like
So you remember the play? Yeah.
We remember on the screen. You were like, "Oh, where did RJ go?" Like he just stopped.
Yeah,
It
and
was
like,
like he
and then
literally hit a brick wall.
yeah, and then those moments where, like, he ends up fouling, and it's just like you could see it coming. Where it's like I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. Wasn't all bad on the defensive end. Some very good moments on the defensive end. But at the same time, we have to sit here and acknowledge that, like, teams are hunting him,
Mhm.
which is wild to say. But
So what if I said that the addition of Josh Hart, which is why I think those minutes were the ones that stood out, and you know how like good defense can be contagious, and seeing how
yeah,
active he can,
yep,
I think that's where I'm really excited for those second unit minutes with Hart and with RJ together, along with Quickly, and those your perimeter defenders. Even Obi like was able to make a couple defensive stops in that stretch that extended the lead from like 8 or 9 to closer to the 20.
for sure. Yep.
Yeah.
Good
I need
call.
to stay on for the next 2 super chats.
I love it. Dan Hidalgo, we're Brooklyn at.
Where?
I don't know. I mean, I'm here now, but
we here. No, but they gone.
I hear.
I hear. Yes, you here in Brooklyn.
I hear.
We here, New York Knicks. They gone. That's their hashtag. Hashtag they gone.
Like, that's a good hashtag.
Mm-hmm.
Keith with another. Keith, thank you so much for the generous contributions tonight. Also, the city is under new management. Owning the Nets again is a great feeling.
Get him out of here.
Get him out of here. I'm excited for this to be a real rivalry again because, like, I hate to do this, but if we're being honest, it wasn't a rivalry the last 3 years. Like, they had Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving and occasionally James Harden. We did not. And, and now it's a rivalry. I think I hope we're better now than them. I think we're better than them.
It's the talent's no longer tilted as much as it used to be.
But again, I don't want to get ahead of myself. Wait till the next guy comes on the trade market.
And that more than anything is the biggest difference now than 2019. And that's like what I was talking to both Evan and both to Mike about, the reason that meant something. The Nets do matter now. For forever it was, and I think I said this yesterday to Mike, that it was always no one's ever chosen New York. Everybody's like the Knicks have either never been competent enough, or when the free agents have wanted to go somewhere, they've chosen Miami, they've chosen the Lakers, they've chosen someplace else. 2019 was the first time someone chose New York and chose them. And now that is in play the next time the guy becomes available.
And I was happy you brought it back to 2010 because that was an important. That's when it started, when it was like, because New York had never had a chance to sign marquee free agents ever.
Nope.
And then the first chance they really had in 2010, it was like they chose Miami. And that took a while to get over, where it's like someone had a chance to come to New York and they said no.
And then the reporting from that is even worse because their first choice appears to have been New York. And they took one look under the hood and were like, oh, they're not built for what we're trying to do here.
Yes.
That's a direct quote from Dwayne Wade, by the way.
Yeah. So then 9 years later, though, to then get to come full circle and be like, they were dead set on coming to New York, and it just, yeah. Anyway, whatever. We don't have to talk about that.
Yes.
Hopefully, we've turned the corner.
I would say so. Yes. I'm gonna jump down and get your super chat rolling.
Okay. Yeah. Let's get it rolling here. Thanks, Keith. Juanad, what's going on, Juanad? I hope my girl loves me as much as Tibbs and Jalen love having Josh Hart in a Knicks uniform. Again, if you're complaining after tonight, get the fuck out of here. Net streak over. I feel much better now. Since you brought up, I hope my girl loves me as much as that. This is a very special day. There's 33 minutes, so I don't think we're going to be off by midnight. So I'll be a little late. But I got to go give my wife a big kiss after this is over, because 10 years ago today, we had our first kiss. So this is a big day in the Macri household. And I hope my wife loves me as much as Tibbs and Jalen love having Josh Hart on the Knicks uniform as well. So good comment, you and I. Dylan Chop Charles, what's going on, man? Thank you for, again, very generous contribution, and I know what's coming. I can't wait to read it. Yo, J-Mac, I'm back like scoliosis. Wow, that's good. On tonight's Forgotten Play, with 2:38 left in the third, Brunson strips Cam Thomas. Yes, he did. Wanted to make sure we shed light on the big defensive play at the time. Fun win. If I recall correctly, he stripped Cam Thomas, but I don't believe they scored on the next possession. I still think that was a big play because, like, late third quarter in this game, the momentum was still very. You've really felt like this game could go in either direction, or at least that I felt that at the time. Yeah. So it was tie. That's right. It was tie game. There you go. So it was tie game. The Nets had just tied it up. Brunson stripped Cam Thomas, quickly came down and missed the 3 attempt, but Randall stole a Mikal Bridges pass on the next possession after that. Good job by Julius Randle. And then Brunson comes down and makes a 2-point shot to give the Knicks an 82-80 lead. I don't think the Knicks ever relinquished the lead after that. I'm going to double check right now. Yeah, they maintained the lead for the rest of the game. So really, good job by you, Dylan Chop Charles, because that defensive play, you could argue that was the moment that, like, preserved the tie game, and the Knicks would never relinquish the lead again. Good stuff. Appreciate that. Janky AF. Tonight I said no diapers. If they lose, I'm gonna do duty in my pants. What is happening? I can't express how good this win feels. Thanks for being there with us, KFS. In terms of the vibes, because of Brunson, because of Hart, because it's the Nets, because we've survived the Mitch injury, because we're like 2 days from the All-Star break, where, like, again, I want to really say, like, almost regardless of what happens in Atlanta, but I'm getting greedy now and I want the win. Like, for all of these reasons, that we get to have a week where we're just, like, feeling so good about this team. This is up there for best vibes of the year. Really is. It's up there. Feels good. Feels really good. I'll think about what 8-game win streak was nice. That was up there too. Hush Zoo, what's going on, Hush? Extend hashtag number 3 ASAP. He comes in. We beat the Nets Simmons streak. Yep, I'm completely sold. Jalen Brunson, Julius Randle, Hart, Emmanuel Quickly seems like the core going forward. Man, it's wild how quickly things turn. I think Emmanuel Quickly, I hope. Here, you want to know how this team is a championship team? Very simple. Super simple. Emmanuel Quickly and Josh Hart are the 6th and 7th men on this team. Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle stay here. Mitchell Robinson is still here. Keep Quentin Grimes in the starting lineup. He's still here. And then you get a big wing, alpha dog wing, to play alongside or in between Grimes and Randle. Again, I keep bringing up Paul George because if the Clippers season goes belly up, that dude would look awfully good here in a Knicks uniform. Doesn't have to be him, you know. There are other wings. That's a nice thing. It's like you could plop a whole bunch of different wings in there. Or if it ends up being a big guy, Mitch, it was lovely, but maybe it's a big dude. I don't want Karl-Anthony Towns. I want the dude in Philly. But, like, you could see it, right? You could see it. You could see them being one piece away. It's not hard to visualize anymore. It's actually pretty easy to visualize now. But, yeah, those are all core guys, I think. Danny K, I am so happy. Hashtag enjoy the wins. I'm loving this season. This team is good. This team is legitimately good. Andrew just read off the stats before. They are top 10 in net rating. I still, it's unfathomable to me that they are the 6th best offense in the league, better than Philly. 32 and 27, excuse me. Jessica, what's going on, Jessica? Jessica Elsner. A W when Julius had a rough one is good news. Ben Simmons loses to the New York Knicks. Josh Hart and Jalen Brunson are they. Love the grammar. Hashtag groove is in the heart. Hashtag total eclipse of the heart. Hashtag heart attack. Let's go Knicks. I'm thinking of the was it like a Demi Lovato song, something about a heart attack recently? I don't know. I'm not the pop music connoisseur that I used to be. Love grooves in the heart, love total eclipse of the heart. Total eclipse of the heart would be my preference of those two. As far as a good win when Julius Randle has a rough game, the Knicks tonight beat the Nets. They shot 55% overall and 44% from deep. But those numbers are pretty skewed because Josh Hart and Jalen Brunson had outstanding games. Not only was Randle off, he was 7 of 17 and 1 of 6 from deep. RJ was 2 of 8, 0 of 3 from deep. Obi was 1 of 4, 0 of 2 from deep. Yeah, so like you got some iffy shooting performances from a couple of significant contributors. And they withstood it because they got some guys who are really good. Thanks, Jessica. Appreciate it as always. Fargo Tufo, Alex, what's going on, my man? Hello from the land of enchantment. What excites me most about the Josh Hart trade is that we added a guy whose name Clyde can pronounce. Let's fucking go, Knicks. How could you screw up Josh Hart? You can't really screw it up, right? Pretty easy. Hush it with another one. F him, New Jersey Nets. I've been pretty down this season, but beating that team just feels so good. Anyone in the buyout market we should bring in. Can we stop being down on this season? Again, let's be excited. This team is good. They're fun. They have real good players and exciting role players. It's a lot of good stuff going on. Anyway, anyone in the buyout market we should bring in. I've been asked this question by a few people. I see them not after, like I saw a report earlier tonight that like LaMarcus Aldridge was working out for, I think, the Mavs. You know, there's different like veterans like Terrence Ross we saw bought out, and like Reggie Jackson we saw bought out, and John Wall we saw bought out, and Danny Green we saw bought out. Like all of these guys are gonna want to play rotation minutes. That's why Danny Green went to Cleveland, which I think is a nice job, a nice pickup for them, and a nice job by him because he's going to actually go there and play, I think. Probably. He'll help them. The Knicks right now, I don't see where the spot, like it is obvious that they want to stick with the 9-man rotation, and I think they should stick with the 9-man rotation. I think the 9-man rotation is sensible. I think it's good for them. It's a good way for them to function. So if you got Emmanuel Quickly, Josh Hart, Obi Toppin, and Isaiah Hartenstein after Mitch comes back, coming off the bench, like, where is your buyout guy playing in the rotation? Like, your notable buyout guy. You want to go sign someone to take Obi Toppin's minutes? I'm not doing that. Go find a Ryan Arcidiacono type, if anything, good practice player, whatever. Or, more likely, go take a flyer on a young kid. Go find or go, utilize it like they utilized it with, oh my God, I'm forgetting his name. The European guard who we were all excited about when they signed him a couple years ago, and he never made any sort of an impact here.
Luca Vildoza.
Thank you. Luca Vildoza. I had multiple newsletters dedicated to Luca.
Yeah. Shout out Dave Zenon, one of the more well-known traders here in Knicks land. And he's a buddy. And I was DMing him when they signed Vildoza, and he's like, yeah, just wait till he comes over here. He's the point guard, not Alfred Payton. And lo and behold, neither were the point guard.
I mean, I guess no, Jeremy should be on for this because, like, here's the thing: they can't give whoever it is a lot of money. So, like, the notion that they're going to use the money, and it's also might be a restriction on years, which I'm not as good at as Jeremy. But like, they're not going to bring like Rokas over here for this spot. Like,
Right.
you know,
Well, to be clear, Z was not predicting Luca to be Luca, like Luca with a K. I mean, you want to give someone credit for Obi's jump shot. That's where you go to Z for that. I think we all were very excited about Vildoza when they first signed him. And then lo and behold, that didn't matter,
no. So, D Black, what's going on, D Black? Hey, GMAC. Confucius says, man who turned back on copyright shall soon face the music. Seriously, love the new intro as much as I love the newest Nick.
Thank you. And thank you to everybody that has. Jessica apparently made a thing that I haven't checked out yet. A lot of people with music backgrounds have reached out to me. I appreciate the response to the not completely serious casting call that I put out on the pod yesterday. I look forward to sorting through them and seeing if anything is good for our show. Much appreciated.
Thank you, Andrew. And thank you, D Black. Appreciate it. Parrish Duggar, glad we won. Hate how some guys are playing so bad. It's never going to be perfect. Everybody's not always going to be playing well. It's just, when it's rough, it's like shooting slumps are one thing. You could live with shooting slumps, right? But I think what is disheartening right now is to see the way RJ Barrett is playing and like the fact that, again, I'm not blaming him for this because of all the reasons that we've talked about, but to see how he's not always able to have a positive impact. Although, again, credit to Andrew for pointing out he did have some nice moments on the defensive end tonight. But like, it's like, again, face your franchise not long ago, and now we're here. That's what makes that part of it tough. And then the Obi thing, it's just like, this is a guy who played with such joy, and brought so much joy. Like, he was like, if you ask most Knicks fans, like, what was your favorite thing about last season? I think a lot of people might have said Obi Toppin. And to see that kind of evaporate in a way that, again, not blaming him, is tough. Nice to get an alley-oop from Quickly. That was cool. Start the fourth quarter there. Yeah. So like, I agree with you. It's annoying. But it's hopefully not permanent. Tomorrow's a new day. Matt Smith, what's going on, Matt? Thank you again. Wednesday night is going to have a big game feel for me. Chance to go up 3.5 in the standings on the Hawks. Excuse me. Collins missed tonight. I hope that continues versus us. Yeah, I am not ready to bury the Hawks just yet. I think the Hawks are a team that has gone through a lot of turmoil this year. I would certainly bet on the Knicks finishing ahead of the Hawks, as if I had to bet right now. But is it a big game? I mean, I guess the thing that has changed is, so if you look at this team since Mitch went down, which again, we had a very particular mentality. Like, we looked at the schedule after Mitch went down, and I'm the problem, it's me, was like, oh my God, we're not going to win any games into the All-Star break. And the first 2 games, it looked like we weren't going to win any games into the All-Star break because we got killed, speak of the devil, at Atlanta and at Toronto. Since then, again, without Mitchell Robinson, beat Boston in Boston. Or excuse me, beat Cleveland at home, beat Boston in Boston, lost the tight one in Brooklyn, in which Kyrie Irving went completely insane in the fourth quarter. Lost the tight one to the Lakers that we should have won on the last play of regulation. Could have won on the last play in regulation. Okay. Beat Miami. Good win at home. Should have beat the Clippers. Again, end of regulation, that shot goes up. They should have beat that game. Beat Philly in New York. Okay. Beat Orlando in Orlando. Okay. Lost at Philly, tough game, but played pretty well for most of that game. And then beat Utah, great win, and now beat Brooklyn. So that's 7-4 They're 7-4 since those first two losses. And if you want to throw the Washington game in there, when I didn't feel like we're all that like they were a little competitive down the stretch, but like that was a bad game. So if you take out again, I'm counting the Washington game where Mitch played 9 minutes. If you take out those first 3 games, they're 7-4 since those 3 games without Mitch. You might be right. It might not be so nuts to be like, hey, let's go down to Atlanta and win the fucking game against a team that we're better than, even without Mitchell Robinson. Not crazy. Thanks, Matt. Chris Carter. What's going on, Chris? I would like RJ Barrett to be good at basketball again. I'm an RJ guy, but most of Hart's minutes should come from RJ until he gets his act together. I would like RJ to be RJ again. Like, again, I don't know that he's ever put it all together, but we know when he's going right in a way that works for him and that works for his team for the most part. It's going to continue to be a challenge for how he can make that work with, Brunson and Randall, a trio that has not really worked this year, and a duo, if you just want to talk about Randall, that I don't think has ever worked great. I just want to see him get back to consistently being the guy we know he could be that could impact winning. And he's done it this year at times. Just hasn't been consistent. Thanks, Chris. Connor, October. Play in, I hope, now. Round 1 win? Listen, just one step at a time. Get in the playoffs. Preferably succeed. If you get if you get up to the 5th seed, my God, wonderful. Get to the 5th, get to the 6th seed. Get in the playoffs. Fountain of Hoop. I'd run through a brick wall for Josh Hart. Josh Hart would run through a brick wall for you. I think that's the most important part. CD. Yeah, thank you for all the content. Thank you for coming and supporting us and watching the content and listening to the content. Thank you for everybody. Appreciate you, all of you. Hope you've enjoyed our festivities tonight. This has been a fun one. Perry G. Wow. Okay. Brunson is a top 25 player. And who said Hart can't shoot? Again, not me. I was the one citing his career-long three-point percentage and saying the Hart is a non-shooter. Again, there's guys who are not good shooters, and then there's guys who are non-shooters. Hart is not a non-shooter. He's not a good shooter, but he's not a non-shooter. As for Jalen Brunson being a top 25 player in the National Basketball Association, man, do I really want to try to do this right now? GMAC, you want to come on here for a sec?
Sure.
Want to keep count?
Sure. Go ahead.
Again, just going down the standings.
Mm-hmm.
Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Giannis. I'll move on from Milwaukee. Philly.
2.
Embiid.
Okay, just 1.
I am not prepared to say that James Harden is a better player than Jaylen Brown right now.
I'm not even saying you have to. I just would assume 2. But
we're
if you want to wait, that's fine.
Yeah, we're up to 4.
Mm-hmm.
Donovan Mitchell.
Yes.
Stop.
Although did just do the same thing. Who was hunting who down the stretch? Who put up 41 points in a playoff game against who last year in the playoffs?
Donovan Mitchell.
Donovan Mitchell.
Okay, just move on.
Okay.
I'm not prepared to say Garland right now. Garland probably should get the edge, as maybe should Drew Holiday, as should maybe James Harden. I'm leaving all the arguable ones to the side. So we're up to 5 now, correct?
Yes.
Jimmy Butler. Bam
and
Adebayo.
And Bam. Yep.
Fuck Trae Young.
Is that what? Hold on.
What?
You would take Trae? You would take Brunson over Trae?
Yeah.
Oh, look at you. Proud of you. Okay.
Yeah, I would.
JD from Knicks Fan TV, he messaged me the same thing. That's his big tweet tonight. And He wondered if you thought the same, and I was like, I think he'd lean Trey. He had him on his All-Star team.
No.
Nah,
Brunson.
All right, Jalen Brunson. Look at you.
The Beal, like the injury thing.
That's not even the Wizard I was thinking of.
Come on. So move on from the Wizards. Pascal.
Yes.
Yes. DeRozan.
Yes.
I don't know about that.
I mean, this season, maybe not, but hasn't
No.
DeRozan done it long enough? No? Okay.
No, man. No. DeRozan's not on this list. Halliburton.
If you're not putting DeRozan ahead of him, you're not putting Halliburton ahead of him.
Right now, who's a better player? Tyrese Halliburton or Jalen Brunson?
Jalen Brunson.
Okay. How many we got so far from the East?
That is 9.
Okay. Let's keep it going. Nikola Jokic. Ja Morant.
Whoa. You want to have to talk about Jokic versus Brunson? Go ahead.
Domantas Sabonis is having an insane year. Fox is an interesting conversation.
According to the NBA, one is better than the other.
Fox is having an outstanding year.
I agree.
All right, let's move. Let's leave Fox off for now.
Mm-hmm. Devin Booker.
Booker, Luka,
Kevin Durant.
Oh, I forgot Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant. They both have to go on. Kawhi, Paul George.
Kyrie?
No.
Not Kyrie. Okay.
Fuck him.
I think we're doing basketball analysis right now. On the court, you don't think Kyrie Irving is better than Jalen Brunson?
How do you even have that discussion? One guy is a cultural touchstone that every team in the league would be like, get that guy in my locker room. And the other guy is a guy who 29 teams are probably like, get me the hell away. That has to factor in. It has to.
Then why are we not counting injuries into part of this too? Like,
we can. I'm about to get to the Pelicans.
Okay.
Shit. I mean, I don't know who. Like, what? How about? What do I do with Zion?
That, look, I personally have Kyrie and Zion over JB just on court wise, but the full, if you're saying the best ability is availability, and you're factoring that in, then yes, I would say Jalen Brunson over both.
Ingram.
Ingram, I would have over him.
Fine, put Ingram.
Although the availability thing is part of that conversation too.
Ingram's really good. He hasn't been injury prone. I know he had an injury issue this year. Whatever. Ingram's, at least you could probably debate it. Anthony Edwards is in. Curry, yes.
Yes.
Shea, yes. Dame, yes. LeBron, yes. Anthony Davis, yes. So we have taken out all of the arguables. And how many are we up to?
24.
All right, great. So there's an argument that Jalen Brunson is a top 25 player. I love it.
Okay. That was a fun exercise. Thank you, Perry G.
Appreciate that, man.
And also, I got to go back one more. Thank you to CD for... Can I get another year out of you?
Year?
There you go.
Did I do it right?
Yeah, totally. Bumbleclot.
Bumbleclot.
Mm-hmm.
Anthony Strano, Josh effing Hart. Let's fucking go. I love it. Give it to me. All of it. Please.
By the way, we went through that exercise. You taking Jalen Brunson over Julius Randle?
Yes.
Okay, me too.
I was thinking that too. Good job by you.
Mm-hmm.
Good job by you. Dom Cappuccini. RJ's face can look sour on the bench if he likes. Oh, goodness, Dom. He better start figuring some stuff out because his minutes are about to be a peril. I think I'd rather have Obi on the court over him.
Where we are here.
We're is it are we through the looking glass? Is that apply here?
I mean, my lord. Oh, by the way, Lord XJ's in the chat with his advanced candidates. Lauri Markkanen, are you taking him over?
I looked.
Okay.
Again, just because Jalen Brunson's running the point,
Mm-hmm.
and I think in the NBA today that I'm going to give. I'm personally going to give that edge as the guy who's directing the offense.
Look, I made it clear I'd have some other guys over him too. So he'd be more a top 30, 35 guy for me. But
It,
it's the conversation. He's in that
again, it's
22 to 35 range, which is great.
is there a scenario where it can be an argument, whether it's like the last 5 minutes of the game, who's more important to have on my team? That's an argument, and that's an argument where you could easily pick Brunson over Markkanen.
Mm-hmm.
So but I'm with you. I think it's more 30 to 35 range for sure. Still pretty good.
Yeah.
Kyle Crawford, very curious to see how this team plays once we get Mitch back. I think they're going to play really well, as long as he steps right in and there's not the usual 2-week process for Mitch of getting back in the thick of things. We look so solid without our defensive backbone. Hashtag hearts for heart. Hashtag Brun Bruns. Did you like those?
No, the next super chat. The Garcia family is undefeated.
Sam Garcia. Oh my god! Come on now, this guy's a real thing. Sam Garcia's garbage man, sanitation worker. Excuse me.
Yes.
Sam Garcia exuberance is contagious. I'm officially a fan. Shout out to the Knicks and KSF. This is clearly the biggest troll in the history of the internet.
My favorite bit we've ever had.
It's a wonderful bit. I don't know
time.
how it's happening, where it's happening from, why it's happening. I just love that it's happening.
Mm-hmm.
Sean Ford, what's going on, Shord? Sean, I combined your first and
you did a Clyde. You figured out how to say an easy name wrong.
Sean Ford.
Yeah. Short. So that's what he'll do. He'll
Short.
get Josh Hart wrong. He'll go Jart. Yeah.
Like Jorts?
Yeah, like Jorts. Exactly.
Hart is the spirit of the 90s Knicks personified. I love him. 2 games back in the Nets, half game back in Miami. I need that 4-5 matchup with Cleveland. Let's fucking go Knicks. Man, I'm not going to lie.
You're a writer. Stories would write themselves for the week leading up to that.
There is a part of me that would just rather it be Philly or Milwaukee, where it's just okay, if you lose to Philly, you lose to Milwaukee. It's okay, you lost to Philly, you lost to Milwaukee. That's fine. MVPs. You lose to MVPs. It happens. Cleveland, it's that would be it unfairly, perhaps. It would be a referendum, that series. And it would be now the Knicks fuck up is going to be placed on full display for the entire country to dissect and analyze and laugh at for 2 weeks. That would not be fun if they lost that.
Maybe. I'm trying to figure out how the series would go. If they
win, it would be great, and it would validate a lot of the decision-making process. But if they lost, it would be very loud and messy.
I think a competitive series, and I think the referendum would more be dang, so you traded all that for Donovan Mitchell and you could barely beat the team that didn't trade for him? That's the other spin zone here, is the narrative would be more around the Cavs being you better pray that Evan Mobley gets better.
Fine. If they win a tough 6 or 7 game series and afterwards can be hey, we still have all of our draft picks and you don't, and you barely beat us, and then they go this summer and they do something, that's different.
Yeah.
That's fair.
In play. That's very much in play.
All right. You know what? You're right. You're right. I'm wrong. Given the myriad outcomes. Okay.
Now look, if they lose in 4 and the last game
Donovan averages 45 a game,
right? That's different. They've also played the Cavs really well this season.
They have.
Not putting it past them to play and look,
I'm up.
Well, I'm not putting it past them. I'm just not putting it past them to not even Cleveland, like Boston. They've played really tight. Philly, they've played really tight. I have less confidence in the top 3 in the conference, right?
different
But
animals.
like they'll have to fight in a series against the Knicks. Cleveland's the only one where I'm like, you know what, they could probably, a
let's
couple bounces the right way. And look, you're right. Get to the 5 seed.
I was
first.
about to say, they'll get to the 6. Just get
Yeah.
in the top 6.
You're right.
Please.
You're right. Chickens hatching. All in on that.
Jibo, GMAC, PTSD. How do you think we can't beat Brooklyn or Utah?
I think this is for JMac, not GMac, because although it's not so much that I was confused about whether they could beat Brooklyn because I have no idea what this Brooklyn team is yet. And like, shout out to the casual crew. We were talking about it right when we logged on. Like, how you feeling? And I was like, I have no idea what to make of this Brooklyn team. And the XJ was like, we should probably blow them out. They can't score. And by the fourth quarter, it was very clear. Oh, they can't score.
Jeremy picked 3-1. I picked 2-2.
Yep.
Not feeling so great about that.
I'm really liking Jeremy's pick right now. But there's a whole week and a week off before they play game 2 and 3. So
sure,
we'll see what happens.
John Reynolds, thank you for the generous contribution. Appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
Lucas, Josh the Hitman Hart. I like that one. Grateful he's a fucking Nick. Love a lot of cursing in the super chats tonight. So I appreciate it.
Well, he abbreviated it. You're the one that cursed.
How am I supposed to read the super chat?
Effing.
There's a K there.
No, so fucking you just take out the vowels.
You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna start pronouncing my God from Banshees. What's the curse?
Feckin'?
Feckin'.
Yeah,
that's what I'm gonna start saying from now on. I'm just gonna say fuck us, feckin'.
Mm-hmm.
Greg Film Stuff. Thank you for the generous contribution, Greg. Have to beat the Brooklyn, especially this version, led by Dinwiddie. Worried about RJ, and I'm wondering if Tibbs would pull the trigger, swapping either Quickly or Fournier for RJ in the starting unit. So we're going to send RJ out of the rotation. New York needs that third consistent starter. Here's the issue, right? Is like, with what RJ is giving you on a lot of these nights, to say that plopping Fournier into those minutes, you can't say it's insane. Because you're getting really dynamite 3-point shooting, and is your defense going to get? It's going to get that much worse? Is it going to get worse at all? Like, that's where we're at. That's the problem. That's why people are frustrated. That's why the tenor of the conversation has become what it is. It's not that he's playing poorly. He is playing like, should you be a member of the rotation poorly? Now, again, obviously, for all sorts of reasons, he should be a member of the rotation and continue to be. But it is not good right now.
It's not. No, can't disagree.
Zach Horowitz. Again, Zach Horowitz is not my burner. Y'all say Tibbs can't coach. How do you explain that halftime adjustment that completely stifled the Scorching Nets offense? And watching guys try and guard Brunson's stutter step drive hurts my knees. Yeah, I think the team just came out and played a little harder defensively also, for being honest. I would love to get Benji's input on this one about what adjustments they made. I think they definitely guarded Dinwiddie a little bit better. I think they threw a little bit more pressure at him. Dinwiddie had 20 at halftime, and he finished... Felt like he had under 30 for the game. Am I right on that? 28 for the game.
Yeah, there you go.
So definitely stifled. For sure. Thanks, Zach. Always appreciate you, man. Kane Marco, what's going on, Kane? Take Mob General. Hart makes our team appreciably better. Can't help but take it as a sign of... Where'd it go?
Oh, that's my bad.
Things to come that RJ missed his first 5, then Hart made his first 5. Yeah, that is true. That is a thing that happened. Man, it's just not great right now for RJ. He'll get out of it. He'll get out of it. Kev Words, GMAC. Look out for new intro music for y'all on the way. Keep up the good work, KFS crew. Thank you, Kev Words.
Appreciate you, Kev.
Appreciate you. Yeah, thank you. Kyle Crawford with another one.
God.
I don't even want to read this.
Happily engaged man, by the way.
So please keep Iggy Azalea away from Bronson. Listen, there's nothing wrong with a friendly post game words of kindness.
Mhm.
Kindness makes the world go round, Andrew.
Yes.
And one talented artist in her field sharing a moment with another talented artist in his field.
Cosign.
One of those just people that happens to have a great ass.
Yeah, Jalen Brunson.
Yes.
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 Read the next comment, John.
Sam Garcia. Give Josh Hart all the money. LOL. Sure. Will Oliver, what's going on, Will? Hart's grit tonight is DNA / culture altering. I completely agree. 90s Knicks-esque. He may be gunning for Grimes' starting spot. Still got faith in RJ, but concerned. I don't think Grimes is going anywhere, by the way. I think I completely agree. They need Grimes' gravity. That's a play on words, I think. In the starting five. I don't think I know he's in a little bit of a slump right now, but I think enough teams fear him that like he wreaks havoc in his own way. And again, defensively, I know he's in the midst of like not his best defensive stretch. I'm still very encouraged. And like this is what development is, right? You keep throwing. Andrew, you can't keep a straight face.
I can't.
Why?
Because there's a super chat coming in a while from now that is Sam Garcia's microwave, and this bit continues to make me laugh a lot.
It's a great
actually.
bit.
Yes.
Thank you, Will, and hope you're doing well. Red Sarachak, what's going on, Red? Because maybe you're going to be the one that saves me. Because after all, Jalen Brunderwall, I can't sing this. J Mac, if we could shut down 7th Avenue, ooh wee, great song.
Do that though, yes,
great song. I used to love when I was back in my spinning days. Very few songs that are better to play when you got the bar, like for whatever reason, still pretty packed at 3:30. 3:15 probably better. 3:30 or 3:30, somewhere in that range. Than Oasis, Wonderwall.
Shout out Dirty Dancer in the chat. I'm convinced Sam Garcia is the dude from Split. The James McAvoy character.
James McAvoy
27 personalities. Yeah, I love it.
Who was one of the actresses in that movie? Is a notable actress now.
Yes. Oh, she was in The Menu. I'm blanking on it now. She's
Anya Taylor-Joy.
Anya Taylor-Joy. Yeah, she's in that.
I only watched that movie once. I got to revisit that one.
Yeah.
Ferg, and I love that you thought of The Menu before Queen's Gambit. What the hell's wrong with you?
I didn't see Queen's Gambit. John, you're gonna give me that face of not watching a television show?
That was arguably the most notable television program of that year.
I would argue there's entirely too many notable television shows right now.
Well, that was up there. I want to watch that with my daughter because she's into chess now. Ferg TM. Wait, we didn't review. Ferg TM. What's up, John? First time donating. Just became a patron. Thank you, Ferg. Appreciate you. Thank you. I hope you enjoy all the Patreon content and bonus pods and all the other good stuff. The Discord, everything. That win was effing electric. See, fecking electric. Let's keep it going on Wednesday. Shout out JB, JH, and the KFS team. Thank you. Shout out to you for coming aboard and helping support what we do here and keeping us afloat. Sean Ford with another one. Hart is the best trade I can remember in a long time for this team. Builds on and adds to existing culture. Brunson Hart IQ is a quality closing group. Man.
Jeez.
I want to see I want to make sure, like, once they extend him, then, and hopefully he keeps playing well and they keep winning, and we're 2 games in, guys. But, like, yeah, this has a chance to be one of the more notable trades, and certainly in recent history, but, like, in a while. It's a big deal. Let's see where their pick ends up, too. Anthony Sixto. AC, we don't need the second coming of the Claudio curse with the Eastern Conference Finals guarantee.
Yes, totally what I just said. Word for word what I said, Anthony.
Under promise, over deliver. You haven't learned your lesson yet, Andrew.
Nope. Said they'd go 30-17. They went 28-19. I was so off.
Good job by you.
I was also the 2 games off were the
Bulls
Chicago game and the Mavericks
Nice.
game too. Oh man.
I blame those on you. Jesse M. RJ needs a 4-day darkness retreat like Rodgers. I don't know what that's referencing.
So here's the reference. Aaron Rodgers, because there's rumors swirling around his future with the Green Bay Packers. The Jets have officially reached out to the Packers to say, we would like to trade for your quarterback. Aaron Rodgers will have a say in this, even though he shouldn't have to have a say in this. He does have one. And he apparently told, I believe it was the Pat McAfee show during his weekly appearance, that he's about to go on an isolation retreat, which sounds nuts because he's kind of nuts, but also kind of appealing, of just like isolating myself in like a cabin for a couple of days. And it's a 4-day break. And he said when he comes back, he'll decide what team he's going to play for.
That all sounds lovely. I would like to go and spend 4
Mhm.
days alone in the woods, with my wife preferably. And my kids could visit for like an hour a day. But I would recommend the tin cup strategy for RJ Barrett before he come back from the All-Star break. Specifically, the strategy employed before day 1 of the U.S. Open.
I'm trying to think of the movie. I guess you could pick an episode of Entourage at any point and just say,
That's not my show.
Get 3 of your buddies and enjoy the town for a night, and let's stress off that way, which we've seen photos of him with the young Knicks out enjoying the town, you know?
You have, I haven't. I don't
that's
partake.
right. Forgot. You don't have Instagram, or don't know how to download Instagram.
It's on my phone somewhere.
Mm-mm.
Kevin Nanashevsky, what's going on, Kev? Went to the game with my dad. Oh, that's awesome. Last game at MSG, I went. Siakam gave us 50. So great to see JB give them 40. By the way, hashtag total eclipse of the heart. RJ is concerning. Total eclipse of the heart, man. That's really enjoy that song. The 90s version of it, to be specific. Dom Cappuccini, where my dog's at, DAWGS. My most important takeaway is that we are 16-15 at home. Yes, we will go into the break with a winning home record. Hallelujah. It just occurred to me now.
No.
Let's keep it rolling in the post All-Star break and get Mitch back. I'll always love your positivity, Dom. Appreciate you, man. Red Sarachek. Also, happy Valentine's Day, everybody. Happy Valentine's Day, Andrew.
Oh, yeah, officially. Happy Valentine's Day, John.
I wouldn't trade winning for everything, but do we need to raise an eyebrow at Quentin Grimes' playing time? Again, the team, but few second half minutes do we talk about it. I'm not concerned. He played 22 minutes. He would have played more if this didn't turn into a blowout, I think. I think for him, if he's north of, if he's playing half the game, I'm fine with that. Quickly probably needs to play a little bit more than half the game for me to be fine. But even quickly, if I see 24 minutes for him, I'm not going to go crazy. I think we get a little bit too caught up on these specific minute totals. It's more about what are you doing in your minutes and how are you being used. Steve Stoic, great win. Please wish my wife Karina happy Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day, Karina.
Happy Valentine's Day.
She's watching the pod as a hostage. Hashtag 53 wins. Man, what a wonderful woman you have. Congratulations, you guys, for happily celebrating Valentine's Day, although I don't know that sitting here watching us qualifies as a happy Valentine's Day.
Of course it is. The Knicks won, and you're celebrating with us. Where else would you rather be?
I do have my bottle of scotch right here.
There you go.
I would like to go out to dinner with my wife tomorrow night. That's what I wish I was doing.
There you go. Are you not?
Tonight, I should say.
Okay. Tonight. Okay.
But no, we are not. Because children.
Because kids, yeah. I
Kids.
don't, so I am. So
Good for you.
thank you. You can enjoy my Valentine's Day through me if you want, vicariously.
I won't do any such thing.
Okay.
Thanks, Steve. I wish it worked like that.
Mm.
The Smoking Nick. Heart fits like a glove. I'm here for it. Thanks, Smoking Nick. Robert Cross. First time, long time, John. Some KFS community member was complaining about how you talk about RJ in the Casual Friday playback tonight. I set him straight.
I wasn't paying attention to the comments as much. I will say there was like a long stretch in the second quarter where the comments were like, "What would you trade RJ for?" And I was just like, "All right, I'm gonna watch the game." So I forget which one, who might have said it. You know,
I think I've defended him tonight, haven't I?
tonight you have, yeah. I think also recently there's been, because the wave has gone the other way, you know, that it started to become like, okay, let's pump the brakes on send him to the moon. You know,
that's my job. It's why. It's why. You know who would be Tom Thibodeau's biggest critic if everybody loved Tom Thibodeau?
You.
This guy.
All right, so now you know how to do it, folks. All you have to do is send up overly complimentary super chats of Tom Thibodeau, and John will be right there on the Fire Tips bandwagon. We have to incept him. Is what we have to do. Okay.
That is not what I said.
Mm-hmm.
Repurpose my words. Matthew Russell, super sticker.
So you don't know this, but you can put up like a sticker if you want. So what this is an emoji that's pink with a backwards cap, and it's saying "Let's go." So shout out to Matthew. I agree. Let's go.
Does he get to keep the sticker?
No, he's giving us a sticker.
Oh,
yeah,
I like stickers. Thank you, Matthew.
There you go.
Saquad's Barkley.
Maybe this was the person that started all that stuff in playback.
What's RJ's current value? 1 or 2 lottery protected firsts. What's his current value? What a great question this is.
Actually, that is a good question.
As like this is going to sound fucked up, but I'm going to throw it back to a trade a few years ago to make a point. This is not RJ's value. Be very clear. The John Wall, Russell Westbrook trade from a few years ago. Those were 2 unpalatable contracts in different ways. And one team thought that, well, both teams, I guess, agreed that one contract was more unpalatable than the next contract. And thus, the Wizards gave a first-round pick to the Rockets to pull off that trade. But that trade worked because both teams were like, all right, we have issues with this money. Let's do the deal, and then we'll figure out the pick part. To me, RJ is a net for that reason, and I don't want him on my basketball team. RJ is a natural candidate for a Zach LaVine trade because the Knicks could look at RJ and be like, I don't know about this anymore. And the Bulls could look at Zach LaVine and be like, I don't know about this anymore. And then there's picks to deal with because there's still a talent discrepancy there, I think. And then it comes down to the picks. But like, I could see him being the salary to go to Chicago / the player to go to Chicago, the main player in a Zach LaVine deal.
It's probably. I was thinking of something similar where it's like the Wiggins D'Angelo Russell trade, and whoever.
No, that's a good example. Except I think Wiggins' contract was looked at, and listen, maybe this will wind up being the case with RJ. I hope not.
Yeah.
But like Wiggins was so vastly undervalued at that point that they sold. Obviously they sold low on him, and they bought very, very high on D'Lo, which is again, I don't want Zach LaVine. I don't want to trade RJ for Zach LaVine. Like, please God no. Nick Schaubeck, thank you for the generous contribution, Nick. Red Sarachek with another one. Which player highlights any era Which player highlights from any era would you have RJ watch?
See, here's the problem with this question, because I know that and I'm not like coming at you for this, Red, but like RJ,
That's a good question.
but RJ played for a pro athlete, and his godfather was Steve Nash. Like, he's been watching highlights his whole life, you know? So it's tough to be like, what player should we show him that he hasn't seen and probably taken something from? He's in his head right now. He's having a very tough stretch, you know? I don't know if there's a player. I would show him RJ Barrett from last year. I would show him RJ Barrett from December. That's whose player highlights I would show him.
I mean, the obvious answer for this is always going to be Jimmy Butler. Same body type, same build. You know, Jimmy Butler worked himself into a place where he's going to be a Hall of Famer one day. As a fucking afterthought. You know, coming into the league. It's an easy answer. But yeah, your one is better. Alex with another one. 18-point blowout is a nice way to break the streak. Yeah, when it finally hit me, like, wow, this isn't going to come down to crunch time. I was so happy. I was fully prepared for crunch time basketball.
Yeah, nice little exhale midway through the fourth quarter. You know.
Yeah, wasn't until like 4 minutes and change left
when they pulled their starters. It was literally then. I was like, oh wow, they're gonna win.
And Benji sent out the tweet like, I guess Jacques Vaughn hasn't watched all the Knicks games this season. Juanon, with some of these RJ takes, I'm starting to question whether we're really the smartest fan bases. He's 22. Have patience. Again, this is me now trying to equalize the conversation. I agree that patience is warranted. At the same time, I have been like very, 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 very subtly ringing some alarm bells since his rookie year. And to me, a lot of those things are like, I remember oh my God, how do I do this? Not naming any names, but I remember I was on Twitter one day, casually, in my casual fashion, talking about how RJ was having trouble in a game. I think it was guarding, I want to say Tyler Hero. And I casually made a comment on Twitter. And she was like, RJ seems to struggle guarding like smaller guards, like your typical twos in the league, guys that move around a lot. Like, I wonder if maybe that should be a consideration. Knicks should play him maybe more, like consider playing him even at the 4 sometimes because he's a bigger body. And someone on Twitter casually got all up in my shit and was like, oh my God, how dare you question this player's ability to defend anyone in the league? How dare you, sir?
Yeah.
And like, that was 4 years ago or 3 years ago, whatever it is. And now it's like we're watching a version of this player who has trouble guarding a lot of different sorts of players. You know, it's like these are things that have been there.
Yeah. I mean, I'm shocked that someone had an overreaction on Twitter.com, though. That just doesn't sound like that website, you know?
No, it does not. It does not sound like that website at all. Casuals.
We're trying to repurpose that name, so we've redefined what that word casual.
If only he knew.
Yeah, there's an inside joke that 2 other people know, me and John, and it's why I'm glad we repurposed the name casual for.
God,
you know,
what a gem.
Yes.
Thanks. Oh wait, here we go. Robert Cross. This is for the legend of GMAC. How do you know how to hook me up with playbacks when I need them? Hashtag 53 wins.
Robert, we're going to keep them coming. Guess what's on Wednesday for the Hawks game? A playback watch party with Benji, Jeremy, John, and myself. Okay. We're keeping them coming.
Kevin Levitt. I'm only donating because of AC love of the Fast franchise.
Yes.
Love those movies. Don't have an opinion, except I still believe in RJ.
There you go. You live your life a quarter mile at a time, Kevin. That's what I like to see. Why do you look? Did you see Fate of the Furious, Fast 8?
Is that the one where the guy died?
No, that's 7. That's when Paul Walker. Well, Paul Walker had died during the shooting.
See, this is the problem.
7.
All these movies are the same to me. After
Right,
the
but
first
they're
few,
awesome. John, in Fate of the Furious, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson leans out of the side of his SUV, whatever army vehicle he's in, leans out, says, "You take the wheel, Tyrese," and puts his hand on a torpedo and pushes it. He redirects a torpedo while they're being chased by a submarine on a frozen lake. And that's not the craziest thing that happens in the movie.
Look, it's
a
fine.
torpedo.
It's a fine way to spend your couple of hours.
Yes.
It is not. It's not how I choose to spend my 2 hours.
Right. You need to go. So if he had leaned out of the side of the SUV and quoted someone's effective field goal percentage,
No,
and
scrolled
through, resorted a column on Cleaning the Glass.
I love action.
Mm-hmm.
I love action movies. I live for action movies. I think they're freaking awesome. I need my actors in my action movies to compel me, as opposed to whatever it is Vin Diesel does, which I look at Vin Diesel and I just laugh.
I'm not defending Vin Diesel and that. I'm saying they added The Rock, they added Tyrese, Michelle Rodriguez.
I'm not a fan of The Rock.
Oh, see, that's where we're gonna disagree then. I think The Rock, when used in a team, is the most electrifying man in entertainment.
I think The Rock.
Shout out to WWE.
I think The Rock has had one fantastic film role, and he plays a large fictional demigod.
Moana. Okay. We'll move on.
Michael, Luka had no help before Kyrie is so silly. That is silly, and I can't wait to see how they do in the playoffs. Should be fun. Busy? What's going on, Busy? We would be a 3 seed with a better coach.
Hashtag fire tips.
Hashtag fire tips. We need one. We had to have one.
Mm-hmm.
Dom with another one. Dom Cappuccini, you're killing it tonight, man. Seriously, thank you. Considering we get that superstar next season or the season after, well, I'm not counting any chickens. Do you see Brunson maintaining these numbers over the duration of the contract? Is there some staying power with this level of play? See, this to me is why Jalen Brunson is going to continue to age beautifully as a contract and as a core piece for this team moving forward, because we know already that Jalen Brunson could be a perfect complementary piece to a true superstar in the league. And I would argue that team was not perfectly constructed to exploit Jalen Brunson's talents, and that specifically that partnership, Jalen Brunson and Luka Doncic, was not the ideal partnership that you'd want, because Luka handles the ball so much. And there are other big wings and bigs and even guards in the league, like Devin Booker, who don't need to handle that ball that much, to the point that I think Brunson can be utilized even more than he was in a complimentary role to Luka last season. To say nothing of the fact that Jalen Brunson has continued to improve his game, and now the three-pointer has really come around, specifically the step-back three-pointer, the pull-up three-pointer, the whole thing. Just zero qualms. Don't care about what the numbers are. Like, he might be the third leading scorer on the Knicks if and when they eventually get to the promised land. That's fine. Doesn't mean he's not going to impact winning in a significant way. Joseph J., happy win, but it's glaring we need a shot-blocking defensive 4 besides Randall. Well, they tried to get Jared Vanderbilt. Buy out Ibaka for now? I don't. Do you really want to see Serge Ibaka playing minutes for this team? No. You know. Would love a Herb Jones trade in the offseason. Sorry, Obi. So, again, if you love Herb Jones here and you're saying sorry, Obi, the implication is that send Obi out, bring Herb Jones in. Why would the Pelicans do that?
Yeah.
Like, teams with big wing defenders who hit threes, not trading those guys. They're just not. Robert Cross, it's your boy John. If it means anything to you, I don't care.
I don't care. I don't care
about the hashtag Cam Hive either. Blows them a kiss. Hashtag 53 wins. Listen, Cam Hive is a vital part of our society.
Mm-hmm. They exist.
Capital V.
Yes,
Meaningful.
They exist. Yes.
Busy. GMAC rapping BIG lyric. Hashtag not premium content.
Never said it was busy. Believe me.
God, better than him than me.
Yeah. 10 more. 9 more, by the way.
All right, let's finish with a bang. Michael, the bench nickname should be a quick heart to heart.
Michael. The quick heart-to-heart unit. I love it.
Let's have a quick heart to heart.
Mm-hmm.
And then drop a deuce. What?
What heart-to-hearts are you having? Where afterwards you drop it.
Let's see. When you gotta go, you gotta go.
Okay, there you go.
In all seriousness,
done.
though, I say that only somewhat for the bit, but like, imagine to want to talk about defense. Deuce, quickly, and Hart. Like that's interesting. Again, if Tom Thibodeau had his druthers, I wonder which way he'd go. Robert Cross, is it fair and reasonable to say, thank you again, Robert, by the way, that it's snowing in Bend, Oregon right now? If so, how would you classify my move from San Diego? Thanks. I'll hang up and listen. Hashtag 53 wins. We've been doing a lot of song lyrics. What's the song? The Things You Do for Love? Is that a song, right?
I would do anything.
Well, no, that's
not that
different
one.
song.
I don't know that song. The Things You Do for Love.
I actually like it. I would do anything for love. I am. Did you don't know this about me? Big Meatloaf guy, and specifically Bat 2. Bat 2 whole album, put it on song 1 to the end, including the little interludes, the wild little interludes in that album. My lord.
Oh, I do know this song, The Things We Do for Love. And my dad would be very upset with me because Pastor Claudio also loves this song. And I believe,
who sings that song?
10cc.
It's a late 80s, early 90s song?
Yeah.
There we go.
My dad sang this for my mom for like an anniversary or something recently. And I was like, oh, that's a good song. I've never heard it. He's like, oh, it's a classic, you know?
So good job, Pastor Claudio. Bad job, GMAC. And
Yes.
Good job, GMAC, bringing up Meatloaf, which I'm going to listen to after we get done with this.
Yes.
James Pascal talking about that one piece. Jaylen Brown has been the guy I would love to add. Well, the interesting thing there is, there's a lot of interesting things there. First and foremost, does Jaylen Brown want to have his own team? Second of all, is there a scenario where Jaylen Brown can put enough pressure on Boston in 2024 where he can kind of direct himself to the team that he wants to direct himself? To say nothing of the fact that Jaylen Brown has the ability to sign for a 5th year, and depending on what happens next season, may have the ability to sign a supermax. You want to talk about a guy that a lot of people are going to be watching whether or not he makes All-NBA, unless the NBA changes the rules for supermax qualification, which I don't think they're going to do. It's Jaylen Brown. But I think it's a worthy name. I don't know how realistic it is. I maybe it is. I don't know. I don't know.
Jaylen Brown, and also Atlanta's the team to watch. She's from Atlanta. Apparently, that's the chatter around Boston. Is they're afraid Atlanta is the team that would come take him.
Yeah, and that's all well and good, but like again, you want to talk about teams needing to clean up their house first.
Mm-hmm.
Who like?
Yeah. If he wants to go there, he wants to go there. Jalen Brunson went to the Knicks last year. Like, he wanted to go there. He left the team that made the conference finals.
With his dad and, like,
I know.
All this shit.
But my point, like, LeBron went back to Cleveland. You know, if you want to go there, you want to go there.
I would say that. I actually thought you were going to be like, LeBron went to LA, which is, like, probably the worst run.
But it's a similar point. He wanted to go live in LA. Like, the point I'm making is not your situation doesn't matter. It's just guy wants to go there. He wants to go there, you know, especially if it's as a free agent. If Donovan Mitchell was a free agent, guess what uniform you'd be wearing right now? A Knicks uniform. but I'm okay.
Other
We got Josh Hart instead.
Kevin Danishevsky, one thing I noticed, I heart dishes to cutting Hart. Well, Hart's a cutter, and Isaiah Hartenstein loves the dish to cutter. So yeah, it's a natural one. GMAC, read the next one if you could.
Sean Ford, Tibbs compared Hart to Jimmy Butler tonight. Was going to make a please see a doctor if you've had this condition for 4 hours joke. But damn, that's exciting if Tibbs sees that potential in him. I don't know about offensively, but maybe defensively.
I think he was probably speaking more like impact on the game.
Mm-hmm.
I did not know that obviously until you just brought it up because we've been doing the live stream the whole time. But like, that's I don't want to make something out of nothing. It's just it's very interesting to me. You know where we're going with this.
I do know where you're going with this.
And am I wrong to go here?
With the way the rest of the night has gone on here, maybe,
No,
but I also think Tibbs sees what he sees, you know.
But also, the Butler's always been the comparison to RJ. I'm fairly certain Tibbs has spoken about. I mean, it's been out there. Like RJ and Jimmy had a moment in that game a couple years ago where we caught Jimmy on camera being like, "This is how you draw a foul," and then RJ had his best game scoring wise against Jimmy, and the whole thing. Like these guys, like that's always, and then to use that to pull that comp out for the guy who just came in that would ostensibly replace RJ in your team's plans move. I mean,
this is the full quote from Michael Scotto, who was covering the Knicks in person tonight. Because he was covering the Nets in person. That's right. Watching Jimmy in college and the things he did at Marquette, Josh reminded me of the things he did at Villanova. So he's comparing him to college Jimmy Butler.
This isn't as bad.
I think those types of players give your team heart, toughness, and that's what goes a long way.
Well,
that actually is a great comp right there because that's what Jimmy Butler was at Marquette. The offensive game didn't come until, like you said, he had to work and turn himself into this kind of player in the pros. But defensively, like this is like it's not crazy to say that Jimmy Butler was Josh Hart in college at Marquette.
So, well, two guys went 30th in the draft.
Mm-hmm.
Same pick. Sam Garcia's microwave. There it is. Hart's chemistry is perfect. RJ trolls never stop.
Never.
It's wild.
It's where we are. Every season needs a scapegoat, John.
I don't.
Whether it's deserved or not. I feel
like he's been a scapegoat this year. He's just been I don't know.
Maybe not a punching bag. Maybe a punching bag is the better one. But like we went through a whole We Hear season that we all look back fondly on. How many post games did we sit here with? Why does Elfrid Payton do this? Why did Elfrid Payton do that? Last year, it was a combo of Tibbs and Julius. This year, it's RJ Tibbs, Hartenstein at points. You know, other guys that have played themselves out of the rotation. You know, we'll see. These next 21 games. The vibes may go to a point where, you know, there won't be a reason for a scapegoat until they see who they're playing in the first round. But, you know, let's get there first.
We'll see.
The last three, I should say, are all after I said that now we know we have to go the other extreme and compliment Tibbs, and then you'll jump on the Fire Tibbs bandwagon. So first, Anthony Sixto.
Anthony Sixto, lifetime extension for Tibbs. Okay.
Next, Fargo Tufo, Alex.
Tibbs is better than Pop, Riley, and Phil Jackson combined.
And then last but not least, Robert
Cross. Of course. First time, long time, John. KFS live stream and TV goes right out the goddamn window if we trade for Levine. I'm committed, GMAC. Hashtag 53 wins. I don't think I hope they don't trade for Levine.
I also hope that. I may want to tell you to put bars on your window, Robert.
Here's the problem. Well, for one, no lifetime contracts for Tibbs. I still believe he's the right coach for this team right now. I don't necessarily believe he's the right coach for this team long term. That's number one. Number two, here's the biggest problem with rooting against a Levine trade. If you're rooting against a Levine trade, there is a chance you have to root for a Karl-Anthony Towns trade. Because if you're rooting against the LaVine trade, like the notion that this team is not going to take a swing this summer, I'll believe it when I see it. That's all.
Yeah, it's fair.
And look, maybe there's a better swing that comes along, but
Well, yeah, it was Josh Hart. Yeah.
I think the best thing you could hope for, and I'm planning on doing a little something like this for the All-Star break in the newsletter, is like go through the Western Conference standings, list like the best players, like the best 1 or 2 players on the top. How many teams? 13 teams, and then be like X% of the players that I have just listed will either not make the playoffs or get eliminated in the first round. And talk yourself into like there's going to be more. If you shake the tree, there's going to be more falling out than we maybe anticipate right now. All right, here we go. This was our longest live stream of the year.
Non like events.
Yeah,
like a trade or a draft or something was made. Oh, definitely 2023. I'll tell you that much.
You guys are amazing. Seriously, thank you. I can't tell you how much we appreciate your support, your love, your generosity, and most of all, the fact that you guys have never given up on this team and allow us to sit here and wax poetic about something that really does feel like it's been a long time coming. It's been wonderful to watch this team over the last few years take these little incremental steps, as much as last year was a step backwards in many ways. They got something good brewing here. And post games like this make me realize that I'm not the only, that we at KFS are not the only people who believe it. There's good stuff happening here for real. So thank you, everybody. We will be back with another, what do we got? We got Dream tomorrow night with Chris Persianen.
Yeah, shout out Chris Persianen, 7 p.m. on Tuesday nights, Eastern Standard Time. He'll be answering all your draft questions and inquiries on the KFS YouTube channel and everywhere else we go live. So tune in for that. It'll also be available if you're listening later on the podcast feed. And then playback, a post game, and then we're off to the All-Star break.
Giddy up. Love it.